Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Flesh and Blood stream. Tonight, I am joined by none other than himself, Andrew Blackwell. You all might know him as Blackwell TCG, also the Master of Disaster in Kansas City. Andrew, what is up, man? Thanks for being here, dog. How are you tonight, man?
Hey, thanks for having me here. I'm doing great. How are
Good,
you?
dude. I'm good, man. I'm good. So it is no surprise to anyone who watches my stream regularly that I am not a good Oscilio player. I have streamed Oscilio on a few different occasions, and every now and again, I even manage to stumble my way into a win. But I'm really hoping that you can bring some of the pieces together tonight. No, no high standards or anything, but dude, top ending a calling on, what I would say a hero that's kind of a glass cannon sometimes is really, really impressive, man. And I love to see it. And if you're okay
Thank you.
with it, I'd kind of like to hear about your weekend in Kansas City and what you feel led to you having such a good performance there.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. So, going to Kansas City was actually a super last minute decision. I didn't have stuff booked in advance, but my schedules just kind of lined up perfectly. So I decided
Okay.
like week of to go. And leading up to that, I had been playing the list that top aided at the Calling in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, apologies, I don't remember the name of that player.
That's
However,
okay.
so I've been playing that list, and there were some differences, to this one now. Notably, that one was on like Blue Blast to Oblivion and Sigil of Aethers, stuff like that.
Okay.
Um, so I had been playing that one leading up and like made some tweaks to fit my play style. So that was, how I ended up at this deck list. Then at Kansas City, Yeah, the weekend kind of like started off. So I had played Oscilio at a calling before. I
Okay.
played it both at Memphis and at the calling London, and like dropped very early in both of those. I like did not do well at all. I had previously won a Pro Quest on Oscilio, but then did
Okay.
terrible at a couple of callings. So like going into this, I was kind of expecting like, hey, the meta is a little better now. Gravy's a great matchup. We've got the new Shock, which is like maybe the best card in the deck. So I was feeling a little better about it. Round one started off against a Dash IO, which I don't know if you're aware is like one of our worst matchups
I was like, I've been
because they
told that that is not great because Dash.io just goes burr.
yeah they kill you very quickly. The thing is though, if you can like survive long enough, they do kind of start to run out of damage in deck. So that round one, my opponent got me down to 1 life, and then I blocked out for a while and was just able to send like chip damage here, chip damage there,
Yeah.
until eventually I like shocked them on their turn for lethal when they had like just a couple cards left in deck.
Wow.
Um, and during that match, I heard something that like became a running theme over the course of the weekend, which was, "Oh man, I had the perfect hand that was going to kill you, and then you mind warped me," which is something that happened a lot. Um, so yeah, I did get pretty lucky throughout my run with just like, drawing up the hands and stuff. But, part of Acilio is like playing to those outs and setting yourself up
Sure.
to get lucky, basically. Um, so after the Dash IO, I had some easier matchups. I played against a Jarl, I played against a Dorinthia, I played against a Victor. Throughout that day one, my only loss was to a Slippy,
Okay.
and that was right after having beat another Slippy, which we can get into that matchup a bit more in depth later. But basically, it's not the worst in the world because you can still just blow them up, and they don't
Okay.
kill you. They don't kill you that quickly. So if they have a turn where they're just sending like infiltrate, like you don't really care, and if you have a hand that blows them up, you win the game, right?
Okay.
But if they're just chaining disruption every single turn, you're never going to win that game.
Sure.
So that's kind of where that matchup sits. I played against a few Gravies. I'm trying to think if there was anything like super notable from day one.
Okay.
And nothing like really comes to mind. I mean, there were a few interesting moments here and there. But yeah, so finished off day one, 6-1. Going into day two, I was feeling pretty good about the deck with how things had played out the first day,
Mm-hmm.
where it kind of felt like the deck was doing what it was supposed to, and even in the games where I didn't have the nuts draws, I was still able to like string together those value turns with things like Blast to Oblivion and just kind of like outvalue the opponent on a turn-to-turn basis.
Yeah.
Um, So going into day two, started off, I think my round one was against a Kasai, which is another good matchup. They tend not to run AB really.
Mm-hmm.
The most memorable, well, I guess there are actually two most memorable matchups from day two. One was against a Prism where they hit me down to like 1 life, and I had like a Gone in a Flash combo turn set up. So I
Mm-hmm.
had like Gone in a Flash and Arsenal for instance in hand. They were at like, I think like 20 something life with like 11 ward on the board, something like that.
Okay.
And so I go back into this turn. I've got what is normally like a great combo hand of God in a Flash plus your 4 instants, and I think one of them was a shock, so I already had that payoff too. And I was just sitting there like looking at this hand. I was like, this isn't gonna get there. Like as insane as this hand is, like this isn't getting through the board of wards and like how much life they have. But there was a Sigil of Brilliance in hand.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I haven't seen a Blast to Oblivion yet this game. If I hit one off of an Oscilio cycle, then like this hand does kill them.
I was like, you just get to do the whole thing if you draw. If you
Yeah,
have, I've been told that
yeah,
like Blast, Sigil of Brilliance, like Gone in a Flash, and like Somersault, like allows for like some ridiculously dumb turns.
yeah. So your craziest hands have like a Blast to Oblivion and a Gone in a Flash.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I hit the Blast to Oblivion, and then like the hand just completely emptied out. I ended up getting them to one just like off of that hand. It was either like one or two. I had like a slight miss sequence at the end, and it would have actually killed them if I sequenced it correctly. But as it was, I like got them out of cards and angels and equipment, and so like it just passed back to
Wow.
my turn. I killed them then. Um, so that was one of the most like heart of the cards moments. Um,
Yep.
and then the other one was like maybe the craziest combo turn I've ever pulled off of one of those like Blast to Oblivion, Sigil of Brilliance sort of combo turns.
Hmm.
And I just kept like off of the draws, I just kept like getting more electromagnetic somersaults, getting more Blast to Oblivions. And I got up between like the Aether Bindings and the Volzar. We were up to like amp 20, like 10 cards drawn, but I didn't hit an arcane damage.
What? No, that's
Now,
heartbreaking.
now I still ended up winning that game because turns out presenting like I don't remember exactly how much it was, but like 24 points or whatever of Blast to Oblivions in a turn is still pretty good.
Wow.
But that was one of the funnier moments. And we had like a crowd watching at that point because we were around the top tables, and
Hmm.
so I had a lot of people talk to me about it like after the match, like, dude, that was crazy. You like kept going and didn't, and I was like, yeah. So
Yeah.
that was cool.
Dude, that's
Um,
so funny. I don't think I've ever had a hand where I've thrown 24 points worth of Blast to Oblivions and not had an arcane spell. But there's been a few times when I'm like, man, if I had an arcane spell, like I'd be sending you to the Shadow Realm here, pal. Like it'd be
oh yeah,
over.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's why the instants are like the instant arcane spells are so good is because they like fill both of those roles of like being an instant and also being the arcane damage payoff. Because it doesn't
Right.
matter that it's for one. If your Volzar is up to like 9, you just need any source of arcane.
I was like, yeah, anything
Yeah,
works. It doesn't have to be Mind Warp or Etchings. It can be
yeah.
anything, which is really
Hmm.
cool. So it sounds like you finished Swiss X and 2, right? I was like, I
Uh,
assume so.
X and 1.
Oh, okay, wow. So you
Yeah.
ran
So
day 2.
I got some good matchups. So the two slippies I saw in day one were the only slippies I faced during the tournament. So that was good.
Okay.
Um, and then like other than that, I think the Dash IO I played on day one was really the only other bad matchup I faced.
Okay.
I've heard mixed things about whether or not Dorinthia is a bad matchup. I think
Okay.
it's just kind of it's probably like 50-50 because it's kind of a race. Um, yeah, I didn't play against any like Iras or Syndras. Um, and those people tell me that that is a good matchup for Oscilio. I don't agree because I think they kill you a little more consistently. You can
Okay.
still just like high roll them and blow them up, but because you don't block well, like Ira and Syndra, like they're gonna get their on hits pretty easily, and they'll like present that damage just more consistently than you will, so you don't have time to do the setup.
No, that makes a lot
Um,
of sense. I was playing Syndra during Singapore ProQuest season,
mhm.
and I think I beat every Oscilio I played against. Now, don't get me wrong. There was a few times I was on the edge of my seat thinking, okay, like I'm just going to get cooked here because I wasn't able to
Yeah,
push enough damage. But it feels like if you don't draw the nuts as Oscilio, or if you don't just like flip the combo over on like turn 2 or 3, you're in a pretty bad spot.
yeah. And that is kind of the great thing about Oscilio though, is like even in your worst matchups, you can still just blow them up. Like you don't have any matchups where you'll never win. You will like high roll just some percentage of the time.
I mean, that's awesome
Um,
though. It's cool
yeah,
to like even your like unwinnable matchups, you can still just like
yeah.
bomb one turn on, which is really nice.
Hmm.
Um so if you personally had to like, pick like I would say there's probably about I don't know, like maybe 8 relevant decks in CC right now. Now don't get me wrong, there's always more, like on the fringe kind of looking in, but right now we have a pretty diverse meta, outside of a
Yeah.
few just like, like kind of reigning supreme at the top. What
Mhm.
would you say your best matchups are of the top decks and one of your worst matchups for Acilio right now?
I think my best matchup is Gravy.
Okay.
They just like they can kill you, right? But they don't kill you very fast. They don't like have great defensive power into you.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big things is that like you can their allies that have bigger attack values, you can kill them with a shock while they're attacking very easily. So you're even able to like disrupt some of their offensive power. Like if they're playing, I forget the name of the cards, but like the one that makes you discard from hand and they attack you with like a rigor mortis or a swabby,
Mm-hmm.
and you just like shock it. Because if you just go like any sigil, the zero cost shock, that's 3 damage, and so that's blowing up a swabby, and so that can help you like stave off some of the pressure too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think Gravy is one of the best matchups. Like I had games during KC where I killed Gravy while at a relatively high life total without
Mm-hmm.
ever popping Lightning Greaves.
Okay.
Um, Verdance is also a pretty good matchup just because they're slow, so you're able to set it up. I will say Verdance is a matchup that like when I was first learning to play Acilio, I struggled with a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
just because I didn't understand, I guess, how to like play towards setting up more Oscilio lines. Now that I know how to play the matchup, it feels very good. Like I've had games where I kind of just like brick for the first few turns, and the Verdant still gets ahead, and it doesn't really matter because eventually I'm just able to set up a hand that blows them up.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think
Yeah.
this is. I think Acilio is one of the decks that really rewards you for like what you were talking about, knowing when to set up, or also understanding what cards to arsenal. Or it's like, oh,
Mhm.
should we take a turn off and just play Blast to Oblivion, play an instant, bounce something, make a embodiment, and then put it back into
Mhm.
play. There's a lot of like interesting lines like that I feel like I'm personally still learning as well. So it's intriguing to hear you say that, like, as you put the time in, because I feel like this is a deck that really rewards you for taking the time to
Yeah.
like learn it and like like master it, so to speak.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So a couple good matchups, and we kind of talked about like Syndra and Ira and stuff like that. I feel like those are probably some of the easier ones for people to pick out that are bad. What's one that stands out that you might think is like maybe not bad but not great, also like that's relevant in the meta right now?
um, not bad, but not great. Um, I mean, so the obvious ones that are bad, and I don't think anyone would disagree that they're bad, are Dash IO and Slippy.
Okay.
So just to get those out of the way, I think the one that is maybe not bad but not great is Ira, because they can present very relevant on hits and they can kill you very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the build and the hand they have. Um, I've heard from a lot of people that like, oh, like yeah, as Ira, I don't want to play against Acilio, and to me, that's just kind of like, yeah, you get high road by Acilio sometimes and die, but overall, I think it's more favored for Ira than for Acilio. Past that, um, the obvious bad matchups, and then the ninjas being like not great, but also not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that kind of covers it. Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. We have had a
Oh,
couple of funny. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I will say something that's surprising. Um, so we don't see a lot of Rangers right now because like Azalea has LL'd, Marlin and Riptide are like kind of in terms of the meta,
Sure.
but like all the Rangers, or at least like Azalea and Marlin, are horrible matchups.
Okay.
Like, because Marlin will like, I'm glad people aren't playing Marlin because Marlin will like present a ton of relevant on hits
Mm-hmm.
with overpower, so they'll like disrupt you while also dealing a ton of damage to you, which is like the worst case scenario for Acilio. If they're like just disrupting you but killing you kind of slowly, you can win. And if they're like, presenting damage but not disrupting you, then you can potentially set up a hand to kill them before they do. But if they do both, is real bad.
Yeah, Marlin has some pretty good, like disruption and some good harpoon effects that I think are actually pretty powerful. And 13 overpowers, nothing to scoff at. But
Yeah.
I think Marlin runs into the same problem that a lot of other heroes run into, and that's just like the Gravy Bones and
Yep.
Verdant's matchup are just
Yeah.
so tough. It's kind of funny how much they gatekeep a lot of the format on a certain level. So speaking of this, I didn't have any plans to ask you this, but I'm curious while we're talking about this. What do you think's going to happen Monday?
I think it's gonna happen Monday. Um, I don't know if I have an answer of what I think is actually going to happen
Okay.
because I don't feel like I have a great pulse on what is or isn't a problem in the meta. I think we've seen Gravy Bones be very dominant, but I think that's in large part a combination of the fact that it is very hard to play, and a lot of the best players are on it. I think like your average player at an armory with a Gravy Bones deck probably doesn't feel like anything needs to get banned from
Mm-hmm.
it. Um, I think if they do hit anything, it should be saltwater swell in some capacity because I don't really see how belittle is core to the function of the Gravy Bones deck. Like that's something that they could hit to bring down the power level like just a little bit while also not disrupting the core function of the deck. So my opinion is that would be the best compromise. And it would address what is, in my view, the core issue of Gravy Bones, and that is it is a board state deck that can also put out like 20 damage in a turn without too much hassle.
Yeah.
Which to me is the little bit egregious part. And then hitting something like Tipple, I think would do too much to hamstring the deck. So
No, that makes a lot of sense. I've seen quite a few people call for swell because it's like if you're going to ban belittle from all decks, why would you give it to a board state hero? Which
yeah.
is it's been a pretty reasonable argument. Like it makes a lot of sense. I'm like, yeah, like they kind of got you there, LSS. I'm like, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see
Mhm.
what they do on Monday. It should be interesting. We had a.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. I also think that like Take Up the Mantle is an egregious card, but also we keep seeing Slippy be like the first or most second played,
Mm-hmm.
and then it like doesn't win events or convert to top 8 at the same
Yep.
degree. Like we had like Slippy was the most played deck at Kansas City, and we had none in the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be a little surprised if they hit anything from Slippy. I mean, Take Up the Mantle does feel awful to play against, but I've heard people complaining about various Assassin cards ever since Assassin was released. So,
Assassin's just that class, right? Like it
yeah,
just brings the salt out of you because you're just thinking,
yeah,
God, if I could have got away from one codex or if I could have got away from one Bonds of Agony, the things I could have done
hmm
this game.
hmm
I do agree with you though that I think Take Up the Mantle is an egregious card.
yeah, yeah,
There's a lot of cards that are very broken inside of Assassin, but that's the class's identity. Is that it wants to
yeah,
disrupt us, and that's fine. But it's like Take Up the Mantle. That's where my agency comes in. Knowing how to
yeah,
block Bonds of Agony is a skillful part of the game, and when you take that out of the game, I'm
yeah,
disappointed. Honestly, like I hate
yeah,
I hate Take Up the Mantle personally. So
hmm
makes me very personally happy that you mentioned that card.
yeah.
When you were talking about some of your different like lines and like themes of the weekend, we got a couple of funny comments that I wanted to read to you
All right.
before we went any further. Let me see. Let me find it here. So you made the comment that your opponent says, "Oh, like I had the best hand ever," and you hit me with Mind Warp.
Yep.
Dave responded and said, "I always hear I had an unplayable hand, and then you mind warped me and drew into the nuts." Oh man, that's so funny. And then
Yeah,
Boost,
that can happen too.
and then boosting Spin Dog, Spencer. He's a YouTuber. He's got a cool channel. He actually put out a
Cool,
video
cool.
about Oscilio recently. He put, "Bro, who told you they were good matchups? Syndra is the worst. XD."
Look, that's just what I've been hearing from people. Like I'll sit down against an Ira and they'll be like, "Oh no." I don't agree for what it's worth.
No, I completely get
Yeah.
it. So we've talked about your weekend. Last thing I wanted to talk about. Congrats on that awesome gold foil.
Oh yeah,
For
thank you.
anybody who did not see it, Andrew was kind enough to let me record his gold foil opening, and I posted it a couple of weeks ago, last week, whenever we got back from Kansas City.
Mhm.
It was the leg piece.
Valiant Dynamo.
Yes, there it is. So I have to ask, that's worth a
Mhm.
penny or two. It's one of the better hits at Legendary
Yes.
Gold Foil. Are you going to
Yes.
sell it? Are you going to keep it? What's the agenda there?
I will probably be looking to sell it either when I go to Montreal or Philly.
Okay, that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. So, buyers, you heard it here first. You got legendary Valiant
Yeah.
Dynamos out there on the end. Um, okay, so we've talked about your weekend, and dude, super congrats on top 80, man. I'm super
Thank you.
happy for you. I think there was two Oscilios in top 8, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes. Yeah, there were. Yeah.
And it's just so cool to see because I know people have dogged on Oscilio for so long. And
Yep.
I think he kind of hid in, like the lightning shadow of Aurora for, quite a
Mhm.
while she was dominating. But let's take a look at your deck. I'm going to pull it up
All
on the
right.
screen
Yeah,
for all
let's
the
get into it.
viewers here. Can you see the deck list here?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I was still sharing my screen with you. So this is Andrew's Oscilio list. If you are curious and you'd like to play it, !deck in the chat. It'll get you the link to that list. But looking at our list here, there's a lot of things that are what I would call standard operating procedure, I think, in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. But some things that kind of stand out to me that I kind of wanted to ask you about. And the first one is a card that people on my stream have actively heard me talk about, say I don't like it, I wish it wasn't in most lists. It's Eclectic
Mhm.
Magnetism. Tell me
Okay.
about this card, what draws you towards it, and why is it only a one of in your list?
Okay. So, you remember me talking about how, leading up to Kansas City, I was playing that list from Singapore and then tweaked it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those cards that I added back in. That list wasn't playing any of them. I used to play 3 copies of it. It
Okay.
went to 1 because I never want to draw 2 in the same hand.
Okay.
Um, it's really good for a few reasons. One, it is one of the best enablers for hands that do not naturally have go again, or when you don't have a combo turn. So like you can just do something like, pitch something to play this, or play it off of Tunic, play a Sigil, Mind Warp, something like that.
Okay.
And it's kind of essential to have some of those hands because you're not always going to have go again. You're not always going to be able to use Lightning Greaves. And without go again, you can pretty easily draw brick hands.
Okay.
Um, the other thing is it's another block 3 for electromagnetic somersault, which can be really important for
Mm-hmm.
blocking out some big attacks. Like for example, a command and conquer. Having 2-3 blocks to cover that can be really important.
Yep.
And then the other thing is you a lot of times want to be able to keep your channel lightning valleys around. So, there are a lot of times where I will have like a blast to oblivion play, right? And I play the channel lightning valley, pick up the sigil, and then I'll actually pitch something to Volzar before replaying the sigil, just
Okay.
because I need to be able to fill that channel lightning. And so just having another source of something that you can pitch to helps you with being able to set up those channel lightning valley turns. Because a lot of times you'll want to like set it up for a future combo turn, right?
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. It sounds like it fits really well as like a one of, and I think
Yeah.
one of the issues that I might have been having is I am playing it as a three of, in my
Mhm.
current iteration of the list, and so I feel like maybe that's like causing some more bricks for me. But it being a one of sounds like it could fit really really well.
Mhm.
There's a couple more cards in the main deck here that I want to talk about. And yeah, I noticed that you're on a 53 card main deck, so I'm assuming that you sideboard the same way I do. Your 53 cards are cards that you always play, and then you bring
Yep.
in cards in the sideboard. A card that I've heard a few people go back and forth on that was really dominant in Aurora, but kind of feels like hit or miss for the community has been Lightning Press. What makes you play 3 of Lightning Press in every matchup?
So, you need a certain density of instance and lightning cards, right? Um, the best ones are the sigils, the shocks, electromagnetic somersault,
Mm-hmm.
channel lightning valley, and then I think after you get to that, so the remaining ones then in the deck are lightning press, blink, high voltage. Lightning press is the best of those. Blink is situationally sometimes better, but like lightning press, it converts to 3 value. If you count Volzar, it's 4 value.
Mm-hmm.
It does have that anti synergy with God in a Flash, which is I think why a lot of people were off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you compare it to electrostatic discharge, lightning press works more favorably with blast to oblivion and flittering charge, whereas electrostatic
Hmm.
discharge works better only with Gone in a Flash.
Hmm.
So, and 9 copies of the cards that work with Lightning Press, only 3 Gone in a Flash. So that's why I'm on the Lightning Press main deck instead.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. I'd never considered lightning press on top of a blast, or even
Mhm.
on top of a flittering charge or a fry or something like that. In my head, I always draw lightning press when I have my Gone in a Flash combo turn, and I'm like, well, I guess it's an instant, like it works. But that makes a lot of sense. Being able to press a blast to oblivion, and push like a channel lightning valley through, or pick something back up seems very, very powerful.
Mhm.
You actually mentioned one of the other cards that I don't think everybody is on. At least I've not seen a ton of people on it. But is High Voltage. This is a card that when I feel like we first got into Rosetta and we were like looking at Oscilio, a lot of people were playing High Voltage. A lot of people were really looking to make this card work, but a lot of people have stepped away from it. And you're on 3 copies of it, so walk me through this card a little bit.
Yeah, so High Voltage does a few things. It is kind of like I was explaining, where you have like all your good instants, and then you need a few more instants for the deck still.
Mm-hmm.
High Voltage is one of those like next best ones, along with Blink.
Okay.
It's like it isn't amazing. Like, you're gonna draw High Voltage sometimes and be like, this card sucks. But what's great about it is that it's like it, it always will convert to value regardless of like action points or whatever, so long as you have the arcane payoff. So if you have a hand where like you just have to send something like an etchings of arcana, right? You draw a hand that's like a sigil, a high voltage, etchings of arcana, some other thing, or maybe you had to block with some other thing.
Mm-hmm.
If that's like an electrostatic discharge or something else there instead, it kind of sucks. Now you can be playing Sigil of Solace in this spot instead. I have it in the
Okay.
sideboard. um, I like High Voltage better because it's more proactive. I have Sigil of Solace for those matchups where I'm more worried about dying.
Okay.
um, what it does is, like I was saying before, it kind of like is relevant a lot of the time, especially if you draw it, maybe from like a Channel Lightning Valley trigger after you've already like sent your attacks. You still get to play it before you do your arcane damage. It can really help with pushing you to an appropriate surge level on your non-combo turns. So something you'll have an issue when you're playing into decks that are on AB3 is that on your non-combo turns, it can be very difficult to amp past 3 and actually get your surge effects off.
Okay.
Whereas High Voltage, because it effectively contributes amp 2, will really help you push it to that 4 threshold, which is really important if you're trying to get off that Mind Warp or that Etchings of Arcana. And then lastly, it does help a lot with like shock kill your opponent when they're attacking you for lethal. I have done that probably more times than you would assume, specifically with High Voltage.
Okay, I love that. That's awesome. So it
Yeah.
sounds like it fills a very specific role, kind of like the
Yeah.
one of magnetism, except this is probably a better three of, because it's an instant that cycles, to Oscilio's effect, and it's also a blue. So we have like
Yeah.
more resource cards like in the deck that we can like look at and stuff like that. So that makes a lot of sense.
I
Um,
I will say, if we ever got like another Oscilio specialization, that's probably like the first card that would go.
okay, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
this is like the last card to make the cut, really.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. Let's take a look at our sideboard here.
Okay.
Taking a look at the sideboard, there are some things that are very standard. I feel like like the Burn Bears, the Sigil of Solace, the Sink Below, some number of fries fit pretty standard across most decks. And I feel like a lot of people are on discharge in the main deck, but there are a few cards that stand out here to me, that I really want to talk about. You have a one of Eternal Inferno in the sideboard, and this is something that through different iterations of the deck has made its way in or out of the Oscilio list. And I'm curious to know what made you land on this card for Kansas City.
So you'll see I have this very pretty extended art Eternal Inferno. This very pretty extended art Eternal Inferno, and I wanted it in the deck, so that's why. Okay, I'm kind of memeing. I do think Eternal Inferno is actually very good in Acilio. I have many times actually gotten the surge effect off, and even one time I played it 3 times in a turn.
Okay.
That's mainly going to happen with your Blast to Oblivion combo turns, because if you're doing a turn with like a couple Blast to Oblivions and picking up and replaying Sigil of Brilliance a bunch of times, you're going to end up with a ton of action points.
Okay.
And Eternal Inferno can be great there too, because sometimes with those turns where you're just like drawing a bunch of cards, but if you like draw multiple arcane spells, you may not be able to like convert them super efficiently. If you have those action points, you can be sending them. But if you hit other stuff, um, so you're able to like actually get the surge effects off sometimes with that.
Okay.
Um, how it made it into the cut initially was just like I wanted a 1 for 4. And if you look at 1 for 4s with surge effects, there's not a whole lot that's relevant. And
Sure.
this one, the surge effect is actually relevant sometimes. It is also important that it can hit any target, so that's relevant against Gravy Bones, because some things only target heroes.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So it has some flexibility in the sideboard. It gives you some reach on combo turns, and you own an EA Rainbow Foil. Why not,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I forgot to mention it comes um in matchups where just like slower matchups basically.
okay.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Just like a taller
Mhm.
arcane spell, especially one that gives you the ability to amp and hit for like 10 and then have that
Yeah.
surge effect is really really cool. So I
Yeah.
like that a lot. And plus, like, I think a lot of people saw this being used in Kano at first, and I don't think a lot of people kind of understood how the card worked with like needing the action point to play it again. But it
Yeah.
sounds like it could fit really well in here.
Mm.
The other one of in your sideboard is a glyph of overlay, which I think is a little bit more standard in most versions of this deck. But walk me through this
Mhm.
card and why you like it as a one of.
Okay. So a lot of the one ofs, like I mentioned with eclectic magnetism, they do kind of fit into the category of like you don't want to draw multiple of them. Um, with the Eternal Inferno and Glyph Overlay, it's a little different because you really don't want to draw multiple of any of your arcane spells, but you need a certain density of them.
Okay.
With Glyph Overlay and Eternal Inferno, it's really you don't want to see them in multiple hands because having to pitch one for them isn't always great. But if you're like setting up for it or you're able to use a tunic counter for it, it's fine.
Okay.
Um, Glyph Overlay especially is just at a one of because it really fills the role of resetting Sigil of Conductivity in slower matchups that do not play arcane damage into you.
Okay.
So it's really just there to like recycle that, get your embodiment of lightning. Um, you can sometimes get it up to higher damages on big turns. That's kind of cool. It's kind of a win more because if you're getting a bunch of sigils out, you probably have a lot of amp on Volzar anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be awkward if you're cycling back in your Sigil of Brilliance or Embodiment of Lightning, because a lot of time, or your Sigil of Lightning, because a lot of times you want those to not pop until your next turn.
Sure.
But with resetting Sigil of Conductivity, it's pretty good.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. It's a really cool card, and I like the way that it like fits into the deck.
Mm.
I have to admit, like I think one of my problems with Oscilio that I've had in the past is that I think about the deck as like just like an aggro deck where it's like 3 3 3 3,
Mm.
and I've never considered like like one or two ofs in these cards, and it makes it really interesting. Um,
Mm.
as we keep moving through, one card that I have always found very intriguing that I know wasn't an initial inclusion in the deck, but I want to talk about is Cap of Quick Thinking. Some people were playing this, like I've been told that some people were playing this as like a Kano counter, and then I've been told that some people play it into like Syndra because it prevents things on like relevant turns. Where do you think this card really like shines for you?
Okay, so I will preface this by saying that since Kansas City, I have taken this out of my deck,
Okay,
and I'll get to what I've replaced it with in a moment.
okay,
Um, so in the weeks leading up to Kansas City, I was playing this when I was going second against aggro decks, so Dash IO, Syndra, Ira. Um, when I was going second, just so I don't like die on turn one if I draw a hand of all instants was
okay,
basically that. I had messed around a little with playing it against Slippy to try and stop Flick Knives stuff, but
okay.
it's kind of awkward there. and I don't know that it's necessarily better than just playing something else. While at Kansas City, I brought this in 0 times. I just played Flash of Brilliance in every matchup, including in matchups where I previously thought I would have played Cap of Quick Thinking. Because Flash of Brilliance picking up Sigil of Brilliance in order to enable like a crazy Blast to Oblivion turn is just that good. It's like a really key enabler for the deck. So I have since replaced this with Crown of Providence,
Okay.
which I would specifically like only play into assassin matchups.
Okay.
So that would be, you know, specifically like as a response to when they Codex Frailty leave no witnesses. That's when you cash in your crown. Flash of Brilliance is awkward in that matchup because of the uncertainty of when they are like, oh, are they going to present another attack, or is this going to be an attack reaction that causes disruption? It's hard to actually time your Flash of Brilliance when you are going to be able to get a good turn off. Because, you know, let's say they present one attack and then they've got 2 cards in hand. It's like, okay, well, do they have another attack? Because if so, I'd want to wait to use the Flash of Brilliance on that second attack.
Right.
But if they don't present it, then I'm screwed and I'm losing my Sigil of Brilliance. But if I do this on the first one, okay, then maybe it's already something that's disrupting that I'm blocking out, but then they present an attack reaction and then I lose my Sigil of Brilliance anyway, and the combo turn kind of fails. Or, you know, they take up the mantle into something. So it can be a little awkward in that matchup, which is Crown of Providence. So.
Okay, gotcha. Well, if you're okay with it, I'll probably just change this iteration of the list and add Crown of Providence in there. That way, like, we have it. That'll be fun. So let's see. We'll just remove this, and then we'll add Crown of Providence. While I'm doing this, is there anything that you feel like I missed, or anything that you want to talk about that I might have skipped over inside of your list?
I mean, there's like specific play lines that I think we'll get into like while we're playing. I don't know if now is really the time to go over it.
Okay.
Null Shock. I mean, it's the card is a lot better than it looks, just like within the context of Oscilio. I don't think anyone disagrees with that with this at that point, but I think everyone's on 3. But yeah, worth mentioning, I think.
I know this was a card that I've slept on a lot. In the past, this is one of those cards that I was like, man, it costs 1, it doesn't block, like it's kind of awkward. I've also just kind of been ruined by this card. The fact that this card is a 0 cost shock and blocks 3, I'm like, man, you could have at least made Null Shock block 3 and still cost 1, and that would have been fine.
Yep, this card, it doesn't matter what the left half of the card said. It basically does nothing. And it didn't need to do anything, because just like the fact that a 0 cost shock is yellow and blocks 3 already exceeded my expectations. Like, I would have been happy with it being red and blocking nothing.
I remember when they spoiled this card, Yudo was over the moon. Like, I think he had a YouTube short about this card out in like 20 minutes when they showed it to us. Yeah. And it's just like basically like him yelling in excitement. And this this card's very, very good. I think I think if you'd been playing Oscilio prior to having this card, it's not a surprise to you. But you know, I think there's a lot of us who maybe weren't believers at the beginning, and so this card has really stood out to me as a card that I'm glad has really caught on.
Yeah, all right. I was very happy to see that.
All right, so taking a look at the list here, we've got some really cool. We've got like, I think this deck is awesome. I really like the way you have it laid out, so I'm very excited to see how it feels tonight.
Thank you.
And as we're going through, as we're going through games, if we run into play patterns or anything, like, please don't feel afraid to like take over and just talk about what you want to talk about. People are here to hear your take on the deck, not mine. They know I'm bad at Oscilio, so.
Well, I want to hear, you know, I want to see how you think about the play lines too, and how you would approach it. Both in terms of like, you know, I think that's useful for learning the deck, and also like, I don't claim to know everything about Oscilio. I make a lot of vibes-based decisions, and sometimes they're wrong. So
hey, that's okay. Vibe-based decisions is when you're on camera. That's the time to make decisions like that, man. Do it for the memes. I'm all about stuff like that. Dave in my chat just said the last Oscilio stream where you kept discarding Null Shock on Blast to Oblivion turns, and I'm sitting in my house screaming no as loud as I can. Oh man. It's if you ever get bored one day and you want something to laugh about, just go watch me play Oscilio by myself sometime,
All
because
right.
it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to watch, but it's gonna be good tonight. I got a feeling. I'm excited.
All right. All right.
Let's see. It's 7:47. Yeah, Cilio games. We probably get like 4 or 5 Cilio games in. I'm thinking a clean sweep tonight is what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, that's one of the great things about Oscilio is the games are pretty fast. So
Absolutely.
if you're playing them at a calling, you don't really need to worry about going to time or anything like that.
For sure. Absolutely. I love that. Oh. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Yo. The mirror?
Oh no. Oh no.
God, do we want to go first?
I don't know anything
second?
about the mirror.
Oh.
You want to go first, I'm pretty sure.
All right, so we're going first.
If Udo's hanging out in the chat, he can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yo, it's Spencer. It's Spencer. Even funnier. Hanging out in the chat, and now he's here to play us. I love it so much. Is this an old knocker matchup? I'm assuming we are just trying to run straight gas here.
Yeah. You want to go old knocker. I would play shock charmers.
Okay.
I mean, you might be able to get more value out of Aether bindings, but shock charmers preventing a surge is really the important part here. If you're able to like stop a non-combo turn mind warp surge, for example. And then I would play Flash of Brilliance.
Okay. Perfect. And then looking at our sideboard options here, my gut tells me Null Shock is good in the mirror.
Null Shock. You're going to want Electrostatic Discharge because here you're just trying to race them.
Okay.
And then you can, for the last 2 slots, you probably want one of them to be Sigil of Solace. And then you can either play another Sigil of Solace or you can play the Eternal Inferno if you're feeling spicy.
You know what? Dude, absolutely.
Okay.
We're going for it, dude. I'm all about this. I am all about one of Eternal Inferno in the mirror.
All right, so we're up first, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. How do you think you play this hand?
So we could cycle the Lightning Press here if we wanted to. Because bouncing the Sigil of Lightning doesn't really get too much value for us if we're just going to put it back into play anyway, which it seems like what we would want to do. So my initial take is probably just to play Sigil and pass here.
So there's some interesting considerations here.
Mm-hmm.
So my immediate thought on the line that you take here is you play Sigil, you play Blast to Oblivion, you play Lightning Press, bounce the Sigil back, and in response to the Sigil bounce, activate your Volzar for free. Then you'll be able to play your Etchings of Arcana for 6. Now, the awkward part here is that Etchings of Arcana can't actually get anything back. It doesn't matter too much. And if you were to like cycle away the Sigil of Lightning to try and hit something, then you're getting greedy because if you don't, the Sigil like reducing the cost here is really important.
Okay.
What that line lets you do, it lets you present six physical damage, 6 arcane damage. That's pretty good turn 1 against Oscilio because he's not going to be able to stop all of that most likely. And then it also lets you arsenal the Sigil of Lightning while also having already gotten the embodiment set up. So that way you're set up with Go Again for your next turn, and you have the Sigil of Lightning and Arsenal to set up Go Again for the following turn and whatever kind of, instant interactions you have.
Okay, so I do have a question, and maybe I'm a little confused. How are we playing Blast to Oblivion and playing Etchings in the same turn without...
Yeah, that's a great question, and that is one of the reasons that I have to stop and think when I do Oscilio hands, because that doesn't work.
I love where you're at. If we had an embodiment, that's a great line.
That is a great point. So, in that instance, gosh, what are we gonna want to do?
Is there any world we play Sigil of Lightning with it on the stack? We pitch Lightning Press to Volzar, and then we play the Etchings for 4 just to push some damage through here?
He's got just 1 AB. Man, I really thought I was cooking with that line too.
Dude, if we had an embodiment, you were, brother. You were. It was gonna be awesome.
So I still think it's more important to set up the embodiment and the sigil in Arsenal than to push the arcane damage through. With
Okay.
the lightning press, you are likely to still push some damage through anyway, because I doubt they're playing Sink Below in this matchup. So I would still do the sigil, Blast to Oblivion, lightning press line, Arsenal the sigil, hold the etchings in hand.
Okay. Works for me. I'm all here for it. All right, we're gonna start with an Oscilio activation from Spencer.
I do that frequently during my games, by the way, where I'll be staring at my hand and think I have the perfect line worked out, and then right before I'm about to play it, I'll realize that like I don't have the action points to do that.
That's so funny. So we're gonna target our blast. We're gonna pick
Yep.
this up so that we create an embodiment.
Yep. Are we getting shocked?
Ooh, we're getting shocked. Interesting. And then, so I assume we want to pitch the etchings here in Arsenal the Sigil still.
Yeah. You may as well pitch the etchings just to get the damage prevention.
So I think Spencer wanted to activate Volzar here in
Yeah.
response, which makes a lot of sense.
Makes sense.
Yep. So we're going to take 1 here. Yep.
Pretty good.
We are not going to use Shock Charmers on this. Sizzle to go back to 39, and then Spencer's going to fall to 35. So it's 35 all, but we have a good setup hand here, and we're putting the Sigil in Arsenal, which feels pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I really like this setup for us because it getting go again is one of the most difficult parts of the early game with Oscilio.
Okay. So looking at this, we don't have an attack. We do have a line where we can play the shock and we can play the etchings if we would like to. We also don't really have anything to sigil back here.
Yeah. So you are, and you're not going to want to do this yet because let's see what the opponent's doing. But you're probably going to want to be cycling this sigil away. So I can't really see how much is this shock coming in for.
So it looks like it's just going to be 2. Spencer did not activate Volzar because there was a red left in hand. But it's a null. It's a shock coming at us. Is there a world we want to null shock the shock here?
So I was thinking about that because this prevents a draw. You would have to use 3 cards, which isn't great. Well, you could do it with 2. Now gosh, I forget how null shock is worded. Can you take a look at that? Is it less than, or I so rarely play null.
Has cost less
costs
than the
less
total
than.
damage.
So to guarantee it without him using the shock charmers, you would have to use 3 cards to stop this here. What's your first instinct?
Well, I'm kind of thinking that we can. I'm kind of thinking that we can pitch the Sigil of Lightning here to just play both sides of the null and the shock, and then if Spencer's willing to give up shock charmers on this, then I think we're okay with that.
Oh, right, because he doesn't have floating resources, so there's no arcane barrier.
Yeah, he does not have AB here. So like, if he has to give up shock charmers, or I guess old knocker, which I'm still okay with.
Yeah. What do you think about starting off by cycling the Sigil of Lightning?
I don't hate that at all. I also was thinking,
because that way it enables our etchings of Arcana to actually get something back on the following turn.
Okay.
Okay.
This is really
That's
sweet,
super
right?
interesting. Yeah. So if you play that out first and then you do the null shock, your null shock is for 3, so you're guaranteed to draw. And You're not guaranteed to stop the null shock, but he would have to give up shock charmers.
So I actually really like that line. I think this is pretty sweet. So we can play the Channel Lightning Valley.
Mm-hmm.
We let this resolve. And then we're going to play both sides of the null shock. We're going to target them. We're going to pitch the high voltage. And then we're going to activate Volzar in response. There's not even a way for him to stop this, is there? Because Shock Charmers only blocks 2. So we're going to push 1 through no matter what here.
Yeah.
I guess
So
the shock would still come through.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Interesting. Not a good draw here.
That is not what we were looking for.
That is not. No.
So, how do you feel about... This is clunky.
So there's a couple options here. One is you could play your Sigil of Lightning from Arsenal, and then pump up the Etchings of Arcana, send it for 4. You get back the other Sigil of Lightning if he doesn't AB. I don't like that line because he can AB that pretty easily.
Okay.
And then you're kind of losing your Sigil of Lightning in Arsenal when it's not going to actually get you an effect. The line I would want to take here that best sets you up for future turns would be to just pitch the Etchings of Arcana to the Eternal Inferno. You're going to get some damage through to trigger the Channel Lightning Valley, and then hopefully you'll hit any lightning card, and you can just pitch it to Volzar or to Shock Charmers.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love this idea. I think that's great. And the best part is if we draw an instant that doesn't have lightning on it, we could still Oscilio it away to try and find something a little bit better here, I suppose. Like to try to dig for that lightning card if we wanted to. We could.
Mm-hmm.
Prince in the chat just said could have been Sigil of Solace. We drew. That's funny.
It could have been Sigil of Solace.
All right, so this works out very well.
Yep.
We can just pitch this to keep us around. And now we're just going to pass it back. Flittering Charge has to go on the bottom first because of CLV. God, I love Channel Lightning Valley. This hand's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thought is to cycle away, before we do anything, we could cycle away the discharge just to see what else we could find. I don't know what you're thinking here.
Yeah, that would be my first thing too, because it doesn't do anything with this hand currently. Okay, so this... Is he playing Consigned to Cosmos?
He is.
Am I interpreting that correctly?
Yeah, no, he's playing... It looks like he's just playing the shock side.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I'm not used to Talishar UI.
Yeah, no, you're completely good. So this is shock coming in for 1 arcane damage here.
What are your thoughts on this?
I'm kind of thinking that we can just pitch the blink to stop this and kind of force Spencer to draw into something better here. But not seeing an attack in, I don't know, 10 to 12 cards is pretty awkward here.
Yeah, it is awkward, but I think you're right there. You just pitch, stop the draw.
We are not going to use Shock Charmers. And then I guess the floor of our turn is to play Consigned to Cosmos to force something out of Spencer's hand. And then we can play the Comet Storm and we can amp on Volzar.
Mm-hmm. So he's sending this here for...
Etchings is coming in for 4. Let's see. He does not have anything to get back currently. I still think we can AB 1 though.
Yeah.
Just because we already have the floating. we are going to give Spencer a card, fall down to 32. Ooh, somebody suggested that we could pitch both of our cards to Comet Storm and Shock to draw a card and keep the channel around.
Well, let's think for a sec. Oh, we've already passed the turn.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to back up? I'm sure Spencer will be okay with that.
I just think one of the things to consider there is because you have the Channel Lightning Valley out and you had the floating resource, you could play your yellow shock on his turn and activate Volzar, so you're sending it for 2.
We had the resource floating, so that's not a bad idea.
We AB'd one twice, but we don't got to back up because that is also a good line to pitch both, to play both sides of the Comet Storm Shock, because then that also keeps your Channel Lightning Valley around another turn.
Okay, so we're gonna target them with both, and then I guess we'll just go ahead and activate Volzar here so that the shock comes in for 2. All right, let's draw into like a Sigil of Brilliance we can put into play.
That would be awesome.
All right, so we push through 2 damage. We draw into a Lightning Press.
Yeah, we cycle that away immediately.
Let's just go ahead and cycle this away. I guess we could have let the Comet Storm resolve. Just to... Okay.
That's pretty good.
Now we're cooking.
It is... Technically, it is a little better to do the cycle before you let the Comet Storm resolve, because if you draw high voltage and you want to play it, then you can apply the amp to the second half.
Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
I guess we're not really getting value out of playing the Sigil of Lightning here, so we should just pass and just IP the Gone in Flash, I suppose.
Yeah, you just pass here because, yeah, like you said, playing the Sigil of Lightning doesn't do anything, and when you have Gone in a Flash in hand, you want to see instant cards. So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, this hand is cracked.
Oh my god. Uh-oh, Spencer might have his turn first, though.
Okay.
All right, so this is coming in for 4. I don't think we want to get rid of anything.
Yeah, I think with how good your hand is, I'm pretty sure you just go no blocks this turn and hope he doesn't kill you.
So are we going to block with the Lightning Greaves just to block with the Lightning Greaves? Well, actually, no, I guess he hasn't had a chance to.
Well, you may as well, because there's not like on hits you're realistically preventing in Oscilio, so you want to just get the value.
No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this is Spencer's combo turn. We're going to hope that Spencer does not have a Mind Warp of his own. That would be pretty bad for us.
Yeah, if he's just on a Gone in a Flash combo turn here without also a Blast to Oblivion, it is actually going to be difficult for him to kill you. Oh, well, I spoke too soon.
I was like, maybe just a second too soon.
You're in a little bit of trouble now, but let's see how it plays out. I mean, you still don't block, right?
Oh, sure. No, that makes sense. Okay. So Lightning Press picks up the Sigil. And we're going to fall down to 22. So there's now a Gone in a Flash, a Blast to Oblivion, or I'm sorry, there's a Gone in a Flash and a Sigil of Conductivity in hand.
Yep.
So I guess we can say no blocks here on this one as well, since we're still at 22.
So, yeah, so he's presenting 4 here. He's got the Sigil. That means we can potentially see another 4 from Gone in a Flash, and then an Arcane spell is coming in for, like, at most 10. I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
Now, if it's Mind Warp, that's going to suck. But
Mind Warp is going to feel pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's a way for us to beat the Mind Warp. Even with Shock Charmers in play. All right, so extra action point here. We're going to say no blocks and fall down to 14 and pray to God it's not a Mind Warp.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you're fine here.
So this is 9 damage.
So hold on. Sorry, I can't really tell on the screen. So this shock is coming in for 9, and then he'll have the Gone in a Flash in hand, and that's the only one in hand right now.
Yeah, he'll have yeah, he
Okay.
has the Gone in a Flash in the hand that he can throw at us.
Okay. So that's not gonna kill you. Um, you could consider popping the. This is awkward. Okay, let's see what he does. I don't. I have to think about this for a second, just because like you do have the threat of dying to shock on his turn.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I guess Shock Charmers is either going to save us next turn or not at all.
Yeah, yeah. I think you don't AB anything here.
Guess we can just fall down to 1 because that last Gone in a Flash is going to come in. Is there any chance we want to block with? Is there any chance at all we want to put the Sigil in play and then block with Flash to stay at 2?
So putting the sigil in play and then blocking with the flash actually is just going to cycle a card in your hand. It doesn't get you ahead.
Okay.
And I don't think you want to change in the blink for just so like if you change in the blink for like a better instant, that's good. But if you hit just like another attack, that's bad for
Okay.
your turn. Um, so I do like blocking with flash here just to get the block value off though.
Okay, sure. So just blocking.
Because yeah, two instead of one here is a big difference.
No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, especially with Shock Charmers in play. Could force some
Yeah.
extra things here. So I don't think we want to discard anything. I don't think picking up the channel is worth it. Okay. So from here,
Mhm.
we're just going to lead on Gone in a Flash. I guess the real question here is, are we going to break Lightning Greaves? And I think the answer is that we need to.
Yeah, you are going to need to, well, this is actually kind of funny. Um, because you have the go again and you have the blink, you can actually hold on to the lightning greaves for a while here, and depending on what you draw from the channel lightning valley, you may not even need to. And
Okay.
that's important here because that keeps your AB up.
No, that makes a lot of sense because having that AB could be pretty relevant. Okay, cycling away a discharge here to start. So 4, go again. So I think in the damage step, we don't really need to come away with anything yet, do we?
Correct, because you're not like generating popping lightning greaves right now would generate more action points than you can realistically use.
Okay.
You just got to make sure you do this return after the go again has resolved here.
Yeah. So we do it in
Yeah.
the damage step, so we get our action point back. And then we're going to play Gone in a Flash again. And then we have the blink to continue to generate action points here. So we're going to draw a card first.
Yep.
Draw into another Gone in a Flash, which is admittedly not that great.
So
So,
yeah,
sorry, go
sorry, I
ahead.
want to hear your thoughts first.
Well, I
I
was going to
feel like
say
I've
with
been
the extra attack, it might actually be worth it to crack the Lightning Greaves now because we can get more value in. Or should we save
so
it for the Gone in a Flash next turn?
so max damage he can present here, and I haven't checked how many shocks he's played, but assuming he has a zero cost shock, max damage he could present here if he's on high voltage would be one, two, three, would be 4. So in theory, breaking the lightning greaves does put you dead to exactly high voltage shock.
Okay.
Um, if you break the lightning greaves here, playing the blink would put you up to 2 action points. You get to play a Gone in a Flash again down to 1 action point. Sigil of Lightning back up to 2 action points. Play a Gone in a Flash again down to 1 action point. Then you get to Mind Warp. So it's probably worth it.
So what it adds We had 5 extra damage to the stack here.
So if you don't pop the Lightning Greaves, all you get to do here is blink, play Sigil of Lightning, and then send the Mind Warp. I'm pretty sure popping Lightning Greaves here lets you send 2 extra Gonda flashes. So if you account for the Volzar as well, that's 10 extra damage.
I mean, 10 extra damage feels pretty solid.
Yeah, so I think you gotta. It's unlikely he has the exact that kills you, so I think you're fine.
We've seen 2 Consign to Cosmos in the graveyard, and there's also been 1 high voltage pitch so far.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes. I feel like that also makes it tougher.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now this is 4.
Yeah, and you should have an action point floating here.
Yep. We have.
I don't know if I explained this to the chat, but I am not familiar with Talishar UI, which is why I'm having to ask about some of these things.
Yeah, so we guys, I should have explained this earlier, and I forgot to because we talked about this before the stream. But Andrew was telling me that he has played maybe 10 lifetime games of Talishar, maybe, or it's a very small number. And so we were laughing about that before the stream, and I told him, I said, "Don't worry, I can get through Talishar. If you know the Oscilio lines, dude, we're gonna cook tonight." All right, so Flash of Brilliance. Not discarding anything is going to put our opponent down to 10. So Spencer's down to 10. We have to break the combat chain because Talishar kills me with this nonsense. And then we're going to play Mind Warp, target them, and then activate Volzar. So this is going to come in for 9.
Yep.
Gonna refresh here. Like Talishar lagging a little bit here. Spencer plays out Sigil of Conductivity, which does technically let him play around. Lets him stay at 5.
Okay.
And then we're going to Arsenal Gone in a Flash.
Ooh, so this is on his turn now.
Correct.
You have... Oh, that doesn't quite get there, does it?
We have 1...
Yeah.
2...
It's only 3 damage.
Yeah, I was like, we can only get 3 damage, which is unfortunate. But we do have a very cool line here where we're able to play on their turn if they don't draw the shock that just kills us.
Yeah. Are you thinking about any kind of cycle on his turn here?
Sorry, I skipped over that, but I wasn't thinking about it because the Blink plays really well with the Gone in a Flash and the Blast to Oblivion here, I feel like.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was like, those are good questions. Please ask stuff like that. I was like, because that is... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Come on, Spencer. Love you, Spencer. Yeah, he cycled Oscilio in response to our Sigil of Brilliance being on the stack.
Mm-hmm. All right, if he's letting you go to playing your first attack here, you should be good.
So this is for... I wish we had a Sigil in play that we could pick up here to do something cool with. But here's what I'm thinking. We can go Gone in a Flash, and then we have the Blink to give us 2 action points.
Mm-hmm. And
then we have Current Funnel to grant Go again into Blast to Oblivion.
Yep.
Go down to... That'll be 4 Go again. And then we can play Blast to Oblivion, the second one, for 4 no Go again, go to 1 action point, and then play Gone in a Flash, play Consign to Cosmos to pick it back up and amp. Or no, I guess we need to keep one of the blasts.
Yeah,
to amp
I was just about to say.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
You do, if he doesn't have the shock to kill you, this hand will just kill him from the shock, as long as you have the card to play that.
I feel like getting to our attack step was a big part of...
This was a weird game.
Oh, Somersault. No. Do we blink this back?
Oh, that's interesting.
So that you lose an action point, back?
But he loses. Yeah, I think it's worth it just from a numbers standpoint.
So we get to play Blink here. to bounce this back. The blink is so punishing for Spencer here. I think this is just going to win us the game. So we get to bounce this. We keep our action point because of blink. Hang on. Spencer just said there's a bug. Wait, what?
I'm confused on what the bug is.
He just said I know in the chat. Spencer said the bug is me losing tragically. Oh man, Spencer's always a good sport, dude. I love this guy so much. That's so funny.
Oh no.
Is this not what we wanted to do?
Actually, I'm curious how this works because the last attack did have go again, but the go again didn't resolve.
So the blink gave us our action point, and since current funnel says that the last card you played this, or the last action card was lightning, it gets go again and grants go again.
I'm pretending to be an Oscilio master here, and I forgot how current funnel was worded.
Brother, dude.
In my head, it was the last card had go again.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Huh.
Did he just somersault our current funnel?
Yeah.
I love Spencer so much. Oh man.
All right. Well, we appear to have won our first match in an Oscilio mirror where I only read Oscilio cards wrong multiple times. So great way to start out.
Oh, brother, that is all good.
See, the secret of why I play like off meta decks is because I'm terrible at playing mirrors. And that used to be fine because no one was playing Oscilio when he came out, but now he's a popular deck and I have to learn Oscilio mirrors.
Did you play any Oscilio mirrors in Kansas City?
No, I did not.
Okay. I was like, I'm always curious to know, like, every time I talk to somebody about it, they're like, oh my God, the mirror is miserable. They're like, don't play the mirror. It's absolutely miserable. Oh, I think that took you off the screen. I'm going to fill out our section here really quick. So we played the Oscilio mirror. If I can type, we went first. We did get the win. Was able... What's going on with my keyboard tonight? To survive. All right, we're gonna have to do this later because my keyboard is all over the place right now for some reason. I don't know what is going on. That is so weird. Okay, we'll fill out the log for what's going on later. Let's keep the wins rolling in the meantime.
All right.
Hey, Leaks, what's up, buddy? It is good. This is a tough one. All right, so we're playing against Ira. Do we want to go first or second?
What are your thoughts on it?
I would say go second to try and get tempo, but I've also been told that going first is like just way better.
Okay. So I prefer to go second.
Okay.
Just to like block, because if you draw your setup cards, you can play them on your opponent's turn anyway.
Okay.
I make no claims as to whether that is the objectively correct decision or not. If Yudo were to say something different, I would probably defer to Yudo.
So this is an old knocker matchup, I assume, in case we just like rip the nuts on turn 2?
Yeah, you can play either. They don't kill you, at least the current versions of Ira don't kill you super quickly, but you probably want old knocker.
Okay. I also assume you said Crown of Providence was just for like Assassin, right?
Yeah. And it's awkward here because Ira does present Command and Conquer, right? Mm-hmm. But ideally you are arsenaling instants.
Okay.
So some percentage of the time you should be able to play around Command and Conquer. Where the Codex of Frailty decks get awkward is because they have Codex of Frailty, right? So
no, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm assuming that since we want instants to try and help us play around Command and Conquer and we're trying not to die, we're probably looking at all 3 sigils here.
Yep.
So sigils are probably good. I'm not sure if sinks are probably good here, just to try and help with damage if I was guessing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so since we're going second, I would recommend playing the sinks. It gives you a little more like for just that turn one.
Okay.
If I were going first, sometimes I'd play the electrostatic discharges if I'm of the mindset of like I'm just gonna try to blow them up before they blow me up.
Okay.
Um, your last slot here can kind of be a spice pick. If you're trying to play correctly, it should probably be null shock. If it's me, I'm bringing in either Eternal or Inferno or Glyph Overlay because they're fun.
Dude, let's go. I'm all about making this Eternal Inferno work once tonight.
All right, all
So
right.
we're just gonna jam it all night, dude. Oh. All
Ooh,
right.
okay, this is a good starting hand.
So they are on Kadachi's, which I think has been pretty standard. They're also on AB2 here.
Okay.
Do we want to cycle one of these?
Yeah, that's where I'd start off.
Okay. So I'm kind of thinking we can just take the one.
Yeah, that's probably fine. If they were on flick knives, it'd be a little weirder in terms of how you need to block it, but
Okay.
I don't think most lists are on that anymore from what I've seen.
I was like, yeah, when they got needles, everybody kind of went away with that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about blocking with current funnel and somersaulting it here?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Since they're on mask, which like not every IRA is, um, I like that.
Yeah, some are definitely on the Mist Blossom headpiece. I can never remember what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called either. I think I've even seen some play Balance of Justice against me.
So I'm assuming we're just blocking 6 here with the current funnel and the mind warp, and then we're just going to put sigil into play.
Yep.
I was like, I hate to give up the mind warp, but I think that preserving our life total is just better here. They're also on blood splattered vest, which is super
Yeah, that's
interesting.
spicy.
Over
Yeah.
tunic.
That's interesting.
I'm very intrigued by that decision. I'd be curious to know more about that. Wow.
Ooh.
Okay. My first thought is to play one of the Sigil of Brilliance, play the Comet Storm, activate Volzar, pitching the high voltage, and then Arsenal the other Sigil to bait them into trying to keep some Arsenal disruption. Or we could also just put the other Sigil of Brilliance into play and just try to get one extra value here.
So I like the first line, not exactly for the reason of just baiting. Um, Having a Sigil of Brilliance in Arsenal is good because your most busted combo turns involve Blast to Oblivioning a Sigil of Brilliance. So it's often better to like Arsenal it than to play it out because you need it in play when you play your Blast to Oblivion, right?
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. Especially if they're not disrupting us, I guess we have the ability to just kind of hang on to it until we need it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will target our opponent. We'll activate Volzar. So we're going to send 6 arcane damage their way. And I'm assuming since they brought AB2, they're probably looking to AB as much as they can. Unless they just ripped a dual threat hand. Ooh, they discard a shelter.
Yeah.
Spicy.
And this is where like hands like this can be fine even if it's technically low on value. Is decks that bring in D-reacts against you, sending just arcane damage is pretty good.
Okay. So
Yeah, see this hand you drew up is crazy because you have that Sigil of Brilliance in Arsenal.
okay. So we have the ability, and I just want to make sure that I see this here. I get to go blast. Or no, I guess we get to play the Sigil of Brilliance, and then we get to play blast, blink the Sigil of Brilliance back to hand, and then we have the current funnel to lean into something else, and also the mind warp.
Yep. Crazy hand.
Is there any shot we want to block here with Lightning Greaves to save us from having to block the rest of the turn so that we can just try to go into our combo turn?
Um Yeah, you could either argue for that or blocking the second Kodachi. Blocking the first one is probably safer. Ira does have hands where they're still going to be able to threaten mask with this hand, because if those last two are still attacks, they can still go Kodachi attack.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I was just thinking around like the second Kodachis for 2 if they throw it at us. So like we have to give up 2 pieces of equipment.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and that's just where I think the consideration is here. But like
okay,
you're good to do whichever line you feel is good.
I don't know. I'm playing a hunch right here. You said we're playing vibes, and I got to tell you that's what my
Yeah, yeah.
stomach's telling me right now. So
Now the awesome thing here is even if they like present a command and conquer at you,
mhm.
you can play out the Sigil of Brilliance from Arsenal and then use the Flash of Brilliance to pick up one of the two sigils, so that way you can still do your Blast to Oblivion combo.
Okay.
So they already presented the Kodachi for 2, right?
Yeah, so Kodachi for 2 came in, and then it's pick up the point for 1 here.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I'm backseating too much.
No, dude, you're good. Go ahead,
But
man. That's
yeah. I
exactly
was just
why
gonna
you're
say,
here, brother.
so there's like there's a yeah. I would do the just block with the Aether Bindings here.
Okay, let me see.
Um.
Let's undo. We'll request to undo here for our opponent.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize we had gone past that.
No, dude, brother, you are good. I promise
Yeah.
you, if somebody has an issue with me undoing to block with ether bindings tonight, they're just gonna have to get over it. Okay, so sigil pops.
Yeah.
Drawing into another
Ooh.
blast feels insane.
The awesome thing here,
Feel like we're about to end this person's career.
yeah, the awesome thing here is you don't even need to pop Lightning Greaves.
Oh yeah, because of the blink. So here's
Yeah,
what
well, Blink and Current Funnel.
I was like, we can go Sigil of Brilliance, then we're gonna play the red blast since we drew it. It's just more damage, and then we'll play the blink, pick up the sigil, see what we have. We have current funnel, and then if we draw into another instant, we can play sigil, play blast, play the instant to pick up the sigil of brilliance, and kind of go from there depending on what we draw.
I think the only other thing you have to decide before you start playing it out is, do you want to pop the Aether Bindings or not? Because you're guaranteed 1 value right now, which isn't great, but if you draw into at least that other instant, then it's 2 value.
Okay. I tell you what. What do you think? Let's defer to you on this one. I don't know enough about how much value we can get out of ether bindings.
Yeah.
So before we pop it, you tell me what you think here.
So I would pop it,
Okay.
because like kind of the floor here is 1, which is kind of the baseline you're gonna see in most matchups unless you're doing something crazy. Usually when I hold on to it too long, I'm disappointed. And the ceiling here is nuts if you like draw like an electromagnetic somersault or something, or like I don't know, other ways to draw cards and keep bouncing things.
Yeah, for sure. And the one thing that I didn't think about, and this is completely my fault because I clicked through it too fast, we could have popped the bindings before that first sigil of brilliance left and got an extra
Oh yeah,
value out of it. And I didn't even consider that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's my bad. I apologize.
All good.
All right, so we'll crack the bindings here.
Mhm.
After this resolves, we're going to play the blink. We're going to pick up the sigil of brilliance.
Mhm.
This draws us into a comet storm and shock.
Nice. Okay. So something that's interesting here is you can actually still, um, just by like replaying the Sigil of Brilliance in the future, you'll be able to pick up the Sigil of Conductivity with the other Blast to Oblivion.
Okay.
And my guess is that's probably where you want to go. And then like Arsenal the Comet Storm Shock, just because presenting Mind Warp is going to be important. The other thing you can do though is if you want to like try and high roll, you could cycle the Comet Storm to try and find another instant.
Okay. So if we cycle the Comet Storm and Shock, I guess we're looking for a 0 cost instant to be able to like put the sigil into play and try to do like that off the current funnel.
Yeah, and Ideally, you would, like, just in the future, you want to do that before the chain link with that first Blast to Oblivion has resolved, just in case you um, hit like an electromagnetic somersault. I think in this instance, you still wouldn't want to play it here, but it's
Okay.
just like the kind of habit you want to get into.
No, that makes a lot of sense. You know what? Let's cycle it. Let's live on the edge. Let's see what we can find here. Oh,
Hey, that's great.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh, we're so good at this
Yeah.
game, dude. All right, so we're going to go current funnel
Yep.
for 2 go again.
Yeah. You just got to make sure you play out that Sigil of Brilliance before you play the second blast, is all.
I think I learned that one the hard way during a stream one night.
I all the time have to like stop myself. Like I've even had to do sometimes like, okay, I'm gonna play blast it. In response,
Yep. Well, and that's the great thing is like, you know, like since a lot of your deck is instants, you can even do that. You can say, okay, well, in response, I'm gonna play this. Like you kind of get bailed out a little bit.
Yeah.
So we get to pick up our Sigil of Brilliance again, which is absolutely insane. Oh my gosh. So we get to, I guess, should we arsenal the Sigil of Brilliance here? Or should we arsenal the Consign to Cosmos here?
So this is interesting. So since you're gonna have that Sigil of Lightning out there, it is more likely that your like next hand is gonna be workable. So like drawing the card off of Sigil of Brilliance probably is gonna actually convert. It can be awkward sometimes if you don't have the action points and you're going to like a 5-card hand.
Okay.
Sigil of Brilliance, like arsenaling that sets yourself up specifically for Blast to Oblivion turns a bit better. It like converts for more just raw value, but the shock, it like guarantees you a source of arcane, which can be good. I think either way is fine here.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and play this out.
Okay.
Since you said that, like, you know, with the Sigil of Lightning, we have a pretty good turn where
Yeah.
we can, you know, make this work pretty much no matter what. So we're gonna Mind Warp them, and then we're gonna activate Volzar plus the 2 from the arm piece. So it's gonna be for 12.
Yep. Really good here.
So they pitch both of those to AB, and they take 10. So we are set up with a very powerful hand for next turn, depending on what we draw into.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Okay, well you're cracking Lightning Greaves.
Oh my gosh. This is
This is odd though.
Triple Channel Lightning Valley does not feel that good, actually.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, this is insane, and then I remembered how this works, and that's
So we're gonna take a screenshot of this hand.
Yeah.
We're gonna need that one for Twitter later. That is too funny not to have.
So I revise what I hastily said. I don't think you're gonna be popping your Lightning Greaves this turn since you have that go again.
No, that's fair. So should we cycle one of these?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Ooh, somebody in chat suggested playing one on their turn and then shocking them from Arsenal.
I would like that if not for the fact that you like don't have another source of arcane already. I do think it's interesting, but I think you do start by cycling one of them.
Somebody said we should play all 3 of them and shock them, like right now, and then go into our turn with 4 cards.
See, the funny thing is this hand is crazy if they just block your Gonda flashes.
Oh. So I feel like it's pretty memey to play all 3 of them and then shock them on their turn. Do you have any interest in going for a meme play here?
I mean, it's okay, so it really isn't that memey because you are just drawing a new hand of 3 cards.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
And you can maybe keep around one of them. It is funny, and I think that makes it the correct decision.
I would love to see the look on my opponent's face, or on our opponent's face right now. They just said "oh" in the chat. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
This is a better hand anyway, so. Oh, and you even get to keep one of them around now.
Yeah, because of the Comet Storm and Shock, we actually just get to, like, this is so good.
See, this is one of those games that makes Iros feel like this is a bad matchup.
They said this is actually insane. And I just said I'm so sorry. I feel like this works really well as well. And we could also have a line where we just end up arsenaling the Sigil of Brilliance, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna draw 3 cards, so it doesn't like.
Yeah, I probably would have gotten there if we had like stopped and stared at the screen for longer, but like now that the more I'm thinking about it, like the play the Channel Lightning Valleys and then Shock actually just is the right play. It's not even Mimi.
Okay, fair enough. No, that makes sense. There's no shot they're gonna let us draw 3 cards off of a physical attack. Okay, so because we need to go again, we have to let this resolve.
Yeah.
So we have to go to the damage step. Now, I feel like it's probably better to play the Sigil here because it adds to our lightning count. And then I'm actually kind of interested in throwing the Shock over the Comet Storm because we know that we'll be able to push it for 3 and we can draw 3 cards.
So throwing the Shock when?
So I would play Sigil of Brilliance right here, bounce this back to my hand, and then I would play the Shock.
Okay. So then you're relying on like drawing something that you can use the action points on, right?
Okay.
That could work out well for you. If it doesn't work out well for you, you've given up only 3 damage. So, yeah, I think that probably is correct. Now the other thing to consider here. No, yeah, I think I think you nailed it.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and play this. We'll pick this back up. This lands in play. We're going to break the combat chain. And then it's going to be just Shock. We're going to target them. And then we're going to amp so that it comes in for 4. And so now, even if they have Shelter and AB2, we're still getting through it.
Yeah. And I have to do that anytime I'm considering like because this does come up a fair amount of like, is it better to Shock and play another thing versus just Combat Storming? I have to like sit there and walk through the math.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. Did we just draw like an insane hand? I'm like looking at this and it feels like we should be able to go crazy right here.
Yeah, this is kind of wild, but you actually you're popping Lightning Greaves now.
So we get to go Gone in a Flash?
Or do we lead you start on Blast? Yeah, you start on Blast.
Okay, so we're going to play Blast. My gosh, I feel so bad for our opponent. Old Knocker here.
I feel so silly now for suggesting that we cycle one of the Channel Lightning Valleys because it's like it's not like immediately apparent, but that's just an insane hand.
No, I know. I did request to undo. We didn't have to use the Old Knocker. I don't know if it's there. We go. We don't have to use the Old Knocker because we have one floating, and we can use the Old Knocker resource for an Eternal Inferno here.
Yeah.
So we crack Lightning Greaves. We get to play Sigil of Solace.
Okay.
And we get to pick up a Sigil of Brilliance. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. That is...
Oh my gosh. Did we somersault this?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is insane.
Yeah.
So we somersault this back to our hand. We play the Sigil of Brilliance. Oh, sorry. I can...
Yeah, so what you would want to do there instead is play the God in a Flash, then Sigil of Brilliance it back, then play the Blast to Oblivion, then High Voltage, pick up the Sigil of Brilliance. So when you have turns with like both God in a Flash and Blast to Oblivion, you'll often be like alternating them because you need to get the Sigil of Brilliance back out there for the Blast to Oblivion, so you can use that on a God in a Flash pickup.
Oh, gotcha. Dang it! I'd have to start the whole turn over. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have clicked so fast. I got too.
Can you not undo past one action?
It'll go back. I have to go back 2, because I played the sigil and then I played the blast, so I would have to go back too. I know. I'm
Gotcha.
sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
There, yeah, it is awkward that we've already activated Volzar this turn, so they're not like turbo dead, but they are pretty dead.
Yeah, that was just a silly mistake. Drawing into these feels pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And here is where last time I should have played Gone in a Flash, then played the Sigil, and then went into it. Yeah, so that cost us at least 4 points of value. Well, no, we've already amped off Volzar, so just 4. I was thinking normally 5. We play this
4. How many action? Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter because we already Volzard. I was wondering about action points, but I don't think it'll matter.
This actually comes in for 5 here. So if we wanted to, we could play Gone in a Flash, and then we could just use the Sigil of Lightning to play Eternal Inferno if we wanted to.
Okay, so yeah, I forgot about the high voltage. What's their how many action points are you on?
We have 3 action points right now.
Because they're on you probably, because we've already Volzard, right? And it doesn't necessarily matter playing lightning cards first. You probably do want to do the Eternal Inferno first because they have to commit at least 1 card out of hand to stop the surge.
So if we use Old Knocker here, we can play the Inferno, and then I guess if they block it, we get to go Gone in a Flash, bounce Gone in a Flash.
Yeah.
Crazy. They're probably just going to take 4 because I think they realize the game's over here.
Yeah. There's some weird lines there at the end where I would have to think about it for a minute as far as what's actually better, because if you just go like, you could also just go like Gone in a Flash, Sigil of Lightning, pick up the Gone in a Flash, and then pitch the Gone in a Flash to the Eternal Inferno. If you like think for some reason that they were going to live, maybe they're at a slightly higher life total or something, because then that lets you keep around an extra Channel Lightning Valley. It's like there they were just dead, right? But it's, if they were at a higher life total, hands like that get like so much they can do.
Okay.
Sorry if I'm yapping too much. I love looking at Oscilio hands. It's so much fun to think through them because there's just like so many different ways things can go.
No apologies in any capacity, brother. Okay, so we are going first this time around. So since we're going first, I assume we're still on sigils. I assume that's still a good card in this matchup. We're playing the one of Inferno for the memes because I want to do it. What other 3 cards would you bring in going first?
I think at least right now, I'm thinking we want to just be trying to kill them. So with that in mind, you bring in the electrostatic discharges.
Okay.
And then it's a choice of either Null Shock or Glyph Overlay. Now, normally Glyph Overlay is like better for the slower matchups, but like it does block 3, and you're going first, so you could get like a Sigil of Conductivity in play. I will leave that 7th. Oh no, we're at 7 already.
I was like, so the Inferno 7. If you'd rather play the Glyph, we absolutely can. I'm here for it, man. Whatever you think is best.
Let's try the Glyph.
Okay. Let's try it. I'm absolutely here for it.
Like I said, vibes-based decisions. I kind of change my sideboard playing every game. So,
oh, that's funny.
Huh.
All right, so there's no AB this time around from our opponent, and they are on Flick Knives.
Interesting.
So with there not being any AB, I'm almost thinking that we could... Man, this is interesting. What if we start by cycling the Lightning Press here?
I think I like that.
Because the Lightning Press is like, it feels like very okay in this hand.
Yeah. And because you don't currently have a sigil, you can't really convert a pump very well.
Okay. Ooh. Eclectic magnetism is interesting. How do you feel about magnetism pitching the current funnel into play shock and then activate Volzar, Arsenal the Sigil of Solace?
So it's a little weird because since we're like turn one, you're only really getting the shock value out of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're basically going to get 3 value because they're just going to block the eclectic magnetism, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, Whereas you could play out your Sigil of Solace and get the 3 value versus like arsenaling it, and then you could arsenal the Consign to Cosmos Shock for a
Okay.
future turn. And in that essence, you'd be like giving up the value there a little, but what it lets you do is like have a guaranteed arcane spell for a future turn. The
Okay.
other consideration is you could send just the Consign to Cosmos, pump Volzar by pitching the current funnel. Um, so you get 2 in, just 1 less value. Then you get to play the Sigil of Solace still, and then you can arsenal the Eclectic Magnetism. So that way you're still converting effectively the same damage and life gain as the previous line, but you're able to keep around a card, because in this instance you're like playing the Sigil versus arsenaling it. So you're actually, in terms of like value of arsenaling thing, you actually are arsenaling something as opposed to like getting the value of Sigil, if you get what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I like that play a lot. Let's run that one out. I think
Yeah.
that's a good one. So we get to play shock, target them, pitch the current funnel, and we're gonna go back to 39, and we're gonna put them down to 38, and we'll arsenal our 1 for 5 here.
I like that here too because we didn't open on go again, and
Mm-hmm.
so eclectic magnetism actually lets you, get some stuff off.
So this is an interesting hand. Um,
Yeah,
Etchings doesn't really have a ton of value here, I feel like.
I disagree.
Ooh, okay, hit me with it then.
Yeah, so this hand is fine if we get to go to your turn, because they aren't on any AB. You're guaranteed to get the etchings of Arcana
Mm-hmm.
off. We don't currently have a sigil, but it's kind of interesting because you could like cycle the Sigil of Brilliance or play it out proactively. I think it's a little too early to decide how to use this hand. I would wait to see what the opponent does.
Okay, well, we'll take one to start here, and just kind of go from there.
Hmm.
The Flick Knives is going to make this very interesting.
Hmm.
They immediately
Well,
use Blood Splattered Vest.
yeah, and I didn't think about that. Of now that they're on Flick Knives, maybe you wanted to block the first chain link, but
So I guess we're just blocking the third chain link. Is really, I mean, I guess we're not really blocking the third one very well. We might just have to give them mass this turn.
yeah, I will defer to your decisions here because blocking
Oh
Ira
boy.
is not Oscilio specific knowledge.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna let the I think we're gonna have to like give them mask. Unfortunately, like
Okay.
there was possibly a world where we could have blocked with the lightning greaves on the first one
Mhm.
and gotten away with like something pretty bad here. Um, this being for 4 is quite clunky. If we had the magnetism in hand, we could somersault and like do some things, but I think we're just forced to. We could potentially Oscilio here.
Yeah, so if you Oscilioed here, what are you thinking of getting rid of?
I was thinking getting rid of the brilliance so that we have it in our graveyard for etchings next turn.
Yeah, the only awkward thing about that is if they follow this up with a Command and Conquer, which they are sitting on 2 floating resources right now that they generated off of, that and they like went up to that off of Blood Splattered Vest.
Yep.
Um, then if you ditch the Sigil of Brilliance, you've kind of lost the ability to surge the etchings.
Okay.
Is kind of the awkward thing. Um,
So we might just take 4 here, as bad as that feels.
well, there's I don't think it's wrong to cycle the Sigil of Brilliance. That's just like the consideration there, right?
Sure. No, it makes a lot
I
of
would
sense.
I would go with what you feel is right here.
We're
If you
gonna
want to block this, then you probably want to cycle it.
we're gonna live on the edge.
All right.
We're gonna take 4 and give a mask, and
Okay.
pray we don't get punished too badly.
All right.
Refresh here.
Now, I will say, if they don't end up threatening that eclectic magnetism in your arsenal, then you probably do want to cycle the sigil. Like, I think that reads correct.
Okay, so if they don't attack our arsenal on their turn, we're going to activate Oscilio to cycle away the sigil.
Yeah.
Okay. I also don't feel as bad about taking the cut through here because we have the Sigil of Solace to be able to gain a little bit of life on our turn. So that feels not as bad.
Yeah.
Well, blocking this does essentially nothing.
Yeah.
So we've come this far. We're going to go to 31.
Well, that's the thing with Ira, too, is like she's not Syndra. She is sometimes going to be constrained on action points.
Ooh.
Okay. So this is interesting. Do you know what you do here without me telling you?
My first thought is that we start by cycling away the somersault.
Exactly. Yep.
So we don't have any value for this. We can get rid of it. Hopefully we draw into something just a little bit better here.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay. So are we blocking 6 here? Or
So it's weird. You can either block 6, or you could play out both instants and take it, and then that would let you on your turn pitch 1 to the eclectic magnetism, use whatever else other thing you drew off of Sigil of Brilliance to pitch to activate Volzar, and then you'll pick up the Sigil of Brilliance and arsenal it.
okay. So I guess
Whereas
sorry, go ahead. No, you're good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, whereas if you block 6, your turn is just like Sigil of Brilliance, Sigil of Solace, pass, which is
Okay.
like fine. It just, I don't think either way is correct here. It's just kind of how do you want to play out this game?
No, that makes sense. I think my guardian brain gets in the way of playing playing other decks sometimes because I'm like, oh, we can just block, and it's like we probably shouldn't block here.
Yeah.
We should probably look for a better line. So Sigil of Brilliance pops, and we're gonna draw a card, and we hit a null shock.
Okay, so this is interesting because now since you hit a yellow pitch, you're able to play back out the Sigil of Brilliance when you get it, and then arsenal the other etchings.
Yeah, so we get to play Magnetism, pitching the null shock here. And then after they decide how they're going to block this, we're going to activate Volzar, play etchings, get the Sigil of Brilliance, run out the Sigil, and then arsenal etchings, and we can try to like keep cycling this value here. It feels like. I guess we can do this in the damage step.
In this matchup, I would want to wait to do it in resolution.
Okay.
Well, sorry, just I guess sorry, damage step is fine. Yeah.
Sure.
I was thinking about like before reactions. You want to wait to give them an opportunity to like play their shelter versus having the decision to discard it to prevent the surge or to de-react with it.
Nope, that makes a lot of sense. So now we're in the damage step. They took 1. We will play the etchings, target them, and we will activate Volzar. So we're now going to be coming in for 4. Ooh, Arcane Compliance.
No. Arcane Compliance.
Man, all right.
That's them burning that for 1 value is totally fine for you.
I was like, that feels like it's not that bad of an exchange, actually.
No, that's totally fine.
So we arsenal the etchings.
Oh man, though, if you had that Sigil of Brilliance here,
oh man, I know.
this would be so good.
So this hand seems a little clunky just to start with not really having go again or anything that lines up very well for us. I can't tell if like it feels like maybe we're supposed to cycle away a Comet Storm and Shock here to start.
So I would wait to see what they do, because the fact that the Comet Storms block 3 here is important.
Okay.
So if they end up presenting like a Command and Conquer to you, you're happy to block 6. And if they do that, like a turn where you just go Electrostatic Discharge, Blast to Oblivion is fine. It's not exciting, but it's still 7 value for 2 cards.
Okay.
Which is like not the worst brick hand.
No, that makes sense. Oh, so yeah, there you go. Good call, man. You called it. So we get to jam both of these in front, and then we'll give them the Lightning Greaves since this is for 7 because of Ira's ability.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
And this is where if you want to get spicy, you could cycle the Electrostatic Discharge to try and hit like a Sigil or something.
Do you think that's better than just throwing 7 here?
Well, it depends on what you draw. Because if you draw a Sigil, it is way better. Because then you get to go like Sigil, Etchings for 4, get back another Sigil, play said Sigil, Arsenal the Blast to Oblivion, and that is like crazy. But if you hit like a current funnel, you're gonna be really sad.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's play to our ceiling here. Let's try to get aggressive here. We are down 7. Well, Mind Warp's
so that's one of the bad ones.
That's fair. That's fair. So we just lose some value on this turn.
Yeah.
But I guess we can play Blast and then pitch Mind Warp to Volzar here.
Yeah.
Sink below. Yep, makes sense. Looks like they did not put a card on the bottom of their deck, so they are interested in keeping their hand here. At least that's what it appears. I think Sink Below still tells you when they bottom a card.
Ooh.
This hand seems like it goes hard.
It does.
So
pending what
I was like,
sorry, yeah, I didn't let you talk first.
No, you're good, man. Yeah, like my simpleton brain is telling me to throw ether bindings in front of this first Kadachi and hope they don't have a Command and Conquer, and then we're just gonna do the combo and we're just gonna play it all out and then end on the Etchings to get another Sigil of Brilliance to Arsenal.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable line. You do also have the backup of if they do send a Command and Conquer, you could turn it into not a combo turn by playing out the Sigil of Lightning on their turn and then going just like Gone in a Flash, play the Sigil of Brilliance, pick up Gone in a Flash, play Gone in a Flash again, shock them, pick up Gone in a Flash, Arsenal it.
Okay. Yep. Nope, that makes sense. That makes sense. Those like quote unquote like mini combo turns, it's one of the places I feel like I really struggle with the deck. That's like one of those places where I find myself like really lacking in like knowledge of how to play out turns like that. So that's definitely something that I struggle with.
Yeah, those ones can be tricky just because they involve a lot of the most unconventional lines. Like there have been times where I shock myself just to get the embodiment of lightning off a Sigil of Conductivity.
Oh, that's interesting. See, that's spicy. Ooh, Concealed Blade. Not a great Arsenal target, but
interesting.
All right, so we fall to 20. Is there a last card a Command and Conquer? It is a Race Face. Does this matter? For Volzar?
I forget a Race Face. Can you scroll over the I forget exactly how it's worded.
Yep. When a Race Face hits a hero, cards and tokens they own lose all class and talent types. So it stops Volzar dead in its tracks.
Yeah. That's interesting. I wonder how are we playing out this hand now?
How do you feel about, because this is Mask of Momentum. We could block Gone in a Flash and consign to Cosmos, and then we could play Sigil, activate Volzar, and then play Etchings for 5, and then Arsenal the other Sigil is just the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, I think that's a really good line.
All right, man. New 0-cost shock, blocking 3, saving the day.
Hey, the fact that it blocks 3 is great.
Okay, so we get to run out both of our Sigils here. And then it's going to be etchings, target them, and then activate Volzar. We are going to get our sigil back, and then we're going to arsenal it.
And if you hit, oh no Gone Enough, or no Blast to Oblivion.
Blast to Oblivion would have been insane here. I mean, we could still cycle for one.
Yeah.
Feels like our hand is okay, but not great.
Yeah, it's interesting here. It seems like we've already gone past it. I'd probably want to start though, just like cycle the Sigil of Conductivity, because if we do hit a Blast to Oblivion, you're probably going to want to block this first one with the Flash of Brilliance and pick up the other Sigil of Brilliance.
So we actually can still cycle here. Since I did that one time, I've been waiting specifically.
Okay. Yeah. So you're going to want to cycle.
So you would cycle. Would we cycle the Sigil of Lightning or the Conductivity here?
I forget. So we already have.
We have a Lightning and a Brilliance in play right now. So in my head, I'm thinking that getting the Conductivity in play lets us like activate for free the rest of the game. Was just my thought process.
Yeah, I like that.
So we get rid of Sigil of Lightning to see what we rip into. Lightning Press.
Okay.
How do you feel about blocking with Flash of Brilliance on the Kodachi and discarding the Lightning Press to pick it up?
I don't love that just because you have the other Sigil of Brilliance in Arsenal too.
Okay.
So you'll that kind of will let you like extend the possibility of a Blast to Oblivion combo to like the following turn. And since you are going to be presenting Mind Warp, there is actually a possibility you're going to get there as opposed to just dying.
Okay, so I guess we'll no block this first one here.
Yeah.
All right, so we fall to 19. Kodachi for 2. Guess we can also just take 2 here. They do use Flick Knives, which means they have some card in their hand that retrieves. At least I'm assuming anyway. Okay, pick up the point for 3. Now, this is Mask, and they have used Flick Knives.
Okay. What are your thoughts on now blocking Flash of Brilliance, Flittering Charge on this, discard the Sigil of Conductivity, pick up Sigil of Brilliance? Or I'm sorry, discard the Lightning Press, pick up Sigil of Brilliance.
I was actually thinking the same thing. I feel like that fits pretty well. We get, unless they have like a buff here, and if they do, they do. We'll discard the Lightning Press. We will pick up the Sigil of Brilliance. We draw into Consign to Cosmos.
Okay.
All right, so we end up stopping their Mask, which lines up pretty well. They pitch. Oh, they had the Conceal Blade.
Interesting.
So I guess we're just going to fall to 15 here, and we'll see what they throw at us. Another Erase Face.
That's pretty good. That kind of stops our Mind Warp turn.
I mean, looking at this, I'm just kind of thinking that we're supposed to block 6 and then just put some sigils into play, and we can leave the Brilliance in our arsenal again and just play to a better turn next turn, maybe?
Yeah. The other thing to consider here is that if you want to present the Mind Warp disruption, you could be cracking Aether Bindings, since your Sigil of Lightning is going to pop.
Okay, so we could block with Consign to Cosmos, I guess?
You could. I'm not sure either line is necessarily correct.
I kind of like the idea of pressuring with Mind Warp next turn, and just forcing them to have less cards. So my gut is telling me that we can make the play of block with Consign to Cosmos, take 3, play the Sigil of Brilliance from our hand because they know about it. And then on our turn, we get to crack bindings, draw a card, and we have at minimum the Sigil of Conductivity we can put into play. And then we can also play the Mind Warp for 4, just in case they draw into a shelter here.
Okay. Why play out the Sigil of Brilliance in advance to draw the card versus playing both of them out on your turn, arsenaling Sigil of Conductivity?
I was just thinking about getting the extra value around shelter over the bindings.
Oh, to get around shelter, right? Sorry, you probably said that and I missed it.
I like
that line.
And it's very possible that we're just not supposed to play around it. We're just supposed to say like, we're just going to swing for the fences here, which I don't hate either. We're definitely playing to a bigger turn by keeping both of the Sigil of Brilliance.
Yeah, I do think you want to be. It's going to be a tricky decision on your turn about whether you arsenal the Sigil of Conductivity or the other Sigil of Brilliance.
So I think let's just go to our turn. We'll take the line that you talked about.
Oh, well, you want to play out the Sigil of Brilliance, right? One of them.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, let's not play it out, and we'll play your line. Because I don't know that they're playing shelters and sinks against us. Maybe they are. I mean, they were on it last time.
Yeah, my main hesitation with that line is that because you're locked in on like just mind warping them, and we're going to be shut off with Erase Face, drawing the cards there off of the blast, off of the Brilliance isn't ideal, right?
Okay.
Because it might be harder to convert.
Well, let's just keep them then, and then we can just set them up for another turn, like you were talking about here.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of our turn, with the Sigil on the stack, we're going to activate the bindings here. This pops off. We'll just go ahead and play the Mind Warp here before we give them any knowledge, so that we can come in for 3 and see how they want to play this one out.
Oh no,
Sag.
Now if you wanted to here, you could cycle a Sigil of Conductivity to try and high roll into a high voltage.
Okay, I'm here for that. We haven't seen one yet.
I don't know that that's probably not correct because it's like one card hit, but
oh, that was a blue, and I was like, brother, I think we just drew it. Okay, so they're going to take 2. I think we're supposed to play out both of these at Arsenal the Blink now.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that they're still only on 3 cards, and that we are at 12 life. So we have a pretty good shot at not having to block here unless it's necessary.
I've definitely given you some bad advice this game in the name of let's see what'll happen.
Oh, dude, I'm so here for stuff like that, bro. If we're gonna do that, it's on stream. Like, that's the time to do stuff like this. So we're not really able to pick up the Brilliance here and do anything with it. But we do have Gone in a Flash into like current funnel turn with like if we draw into something off one of the 2 Brilliance here, where we could do something pretty cool. So my first thought is to just take this.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's the right line. Just the other thing to think about there is like we're getting close to the end of the game. This hand's probably going to be pitching to something because you have the glyph overlay, so you could like block with the old knocker if you wanted to try and like make mask more awkward. They're flick knivesing here, so it doesn't really matter anyway.
Okay. So this comes in for 4.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead,
let
man.
you make your own decision.
No, brother, go ahead.
Yeah, what you die here on the follow up and that they're telegraphing is like a 6 cost, right? But you'll want to be blocking that one out anyway because this is just the second chain link, right? Yeah, so you just take it.
All right, so we fall down to 6 here. I mean, they did use the last counter on the vest, so it does feel like they probably have it here. They have like another weakest link. So this actually just doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Well, it does matter in that it kills you.
That's fair. We are at 6.
Um, how do you envision this turn playing out?
So if we were able to keep the hand, I feel like we have a pretty good line where we're able to go like Gone in a Flash into like blink it back, have 2 action points, current funnel, blast to oblivion with go again. But now I'm thinking that we can block with a current funnel and go to 3.
It's definitely interesting. I think I like. Well, so here's where this hand is awkward, right?
Mm-hmm.
So going to 3 against Ira, if you don't kill them on your turn, you lose the game
Okay.
because they're just going to be able to like kill you on their follow-up turn.
Okay.
So we need to make sure we present enough damage on our turn to at least get most of the cards out of their hand.
Okay.
The best way that's going to happen is if both of these sigils of brilliance both of these sigils of brilliance break, and then we're able to we draw 2 instants off of them.
Right.
And then this becomes a combo hand. Now, I'm just trying to think of how the math works out on that. You're
Is
going
there
to
any
need
chance
to
we block with Old Knocker and try to use the current funnel as a blue for the glyph here?
That's what I was debating between, because you're going to need 2 pitch anyway to accounting for the glyph overlay, but oh, well.
No, you're fine. I'm just clicking so we don't become inactive.
Gotcha. I think it probably just is the current funnel, because then you can start the turn off. You can just use the old knocker for the lightning greaves and just see where the turn goes from there.
Okay, so we'll fall down to 3.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get to take anything. They do draw into Mask of Momentum, which
Oh, I forgot about that.
I mean, I don't like them drawing here. They don't have go again, so I don't think it's the end of the world. Okay. All right, come on, Sigil Brilliance. Sigil of Brilliance. I'm telling you, I throw back to my childhood right here. Heart of the Cards off the top of the deck. We're gonna need some luck.
Oh no. Sigil of Brilliance one time. Oh, okay, that's
I feel like we can work with this.
it's still not great. Is the problem. Now,
So my first
okay.
thing that I see here is
Yeah.
Gone in a Flash with Go again. Play Sigil
Uh-huh.
of Conductivity to bounce it back. Then we get
Mhm.
to play Red Blast to Oblivion, blink the Conductivity back to hand, Gone in a
Mhm.
Flash, play the Sigil of Conductivity, and then we get to pitch to Glyph. Pitch the Yellow
So
Blast to Oblivion to Glyph.
we definitely start with the line you described. I'm not actually I haven't completely done the math yet on where the action points end up here.
Sure.
It's possible you end up in a spot where you're able to just use the old knocker for the glyph overlay, but I don't think so.
So, do we want to Lightning Greaves here?
Lightning Greaves, no, I don't think it lets you do anything additional that you can't already. I think you need to just hope they don't kill you.
No, that makes sense.
Hope they have a brick hand.
So we're gonna pick this back up. I mean, they've already blocked with 1 card, so that's a good start for us.
Mm.
And then we gain our action point back, and then it's gonna be Blast to Oblivion. Curious to see how they want to block this. It's funny, we haven't seen a single Channel Lightning Valley this game.
Yeah.
So we blink here. We pick up Sigil of Conductivity. We gain our action point back. We get the Embodiment of Lightning. Now from here, we get to go Gone in a Flash.
We're on 2 action points, right?
No, we're just gonna have 1. The blink, we didn't have go again, so the blink was basically just maintaining our action point there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So they fall to 24. We play Sigil of Conductivity. Pick this back up. And now what I'm thinking is that we want to play the glyph overlay. So let's see. It would be 3, 4, 10 arcane damage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we can Arsenal the Gone in a flash.
Yeah. It doesn't put you in an awful spot, because if they have a weak hand, you might be able to send back some sort of Gone in a flash combo turn. That's pretty good.
Well, here's all of our instants. I feel like we're probably supposed to start by cycling a high voltage away.
Yeah. I don't disagree there.
We picked a bad time to draw all of our instants. Okay, that does help.
Yeah.
So we can probably no block this.
Makes sense to me.
And then we always have the Sigil of Solace as kind of like a haha surprise kind of thing. Okay, so they're going to use Crouching Tiger to come in for 1 because of Ira.
Interesting.
They no longer have Mask, so this puts us to 1. The Harmonized Kadachi puts us to... Or I'm sorry, this puts us to 2. The Kadachi puts us to 1, and then we're just worried about whatever's left in their hand.
Yeah. This is interesting. They have Flick Knives up, so I don't... Oh, and Mask is gone. Yeah.
Flick Knives is interesting. I think we're going to have to play the Sigil before we get to reactions on this Kadachi. Are they going to break the combat chain? It's dual threat? Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're cooked. We're cooked.
We are probably cooked.
So we're going to take 1, fall to 4. I'm sorry, we're going to take 2 because 1 from the Flick, we fall to 3. And then it's going to be pick up the point for 6. And we don't have any cards that block, so we're just going to have to die. Sag.
Yeah. I think I probably gave you some bad advice that game. That's the kind of game that it feels like we should have been able to win. And I think the line to winning that game involves like keeping those Sigils of Brilliance around for longer.
Okay. No,
and I think the key spot I advised you wrong was cycling away the Sigil of Conductivity to try to high roll.
Oh, sure. We definitely did that for the memes there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Message our opponent back there. All right, so we're 2-1. I mean, to be fair,
all right.
It's not bad. It's okay. Listen,
yeah.
I'd be pretty happy with a 2-1 start to the calling. Don't get me wrong. I'd much rather be 3-0, obviously, but
how are you feeling about the deck so far with those games?
I really like the deck. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Playing this, like I really like the your version of the deck. Like the way you have it set up feels super clean, and I've really enjoyed the way it's felt so far.
Awesome.
Oh, I went too far. All right, so against Victor, this is probably a Tunic matchup. And I imagine, do we want to be on Crown of Providence here, or are we still on Flash of Brilliance in this matchup?
So you could go either way. I mean, they do present some face-up Arsenal destruction with Command and Conquer. It kind of depends, like, do you want to be able to play around Command and Conquer, or do you want to be able to set up a Blast to Oblivion combo turn? I lean towards wanting to play Flash of Brilliance, so I can pick up that Sigil of Brilliance and have a crazy pop-off turn if the situation arises. But I think that also kind of just, like, depends on play style.
So I definitely think that if we were going to play Crown of Providence against Ira, we would play it here. But since we leaned into combo against Ira, we can do it here as well. Okay. So I'm assuming Sync Blows come in this matchup.
Actually, no.
Ooh, okay.
So if you want to bring them in, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I don't bring them in.
Okay, how do you sideboard in this matchup? I'm intrigued to hear about it.
Kill them. So I bring in Electrostatic Discharge, the 2/0 Fry, and then 2 of the arcane spells, depending on how I'm feeling. The safest thing is probably like 1 of the Null Shocks and then 1 Glyph Overlay.
Okay, let's try it like that. I'm down, man. I am in to try it. Ooh, we can put the channel into play. Ooh, they're on AB3 here.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of thinking that we can play channel, or we should start by cycling away the somersault here, is what I'm thinking.
makes sense.
So if we cycle away somersault, see what we rip into here.
Did they just pass to you?
They did just pass.
Okay.
And
You
then
probably want to like. Yeah, sorry. Let me hear what your thoughts
I
are.
was just going to say play CLV and pass here, just to try to like find a hand for next turn.
Yeah, the other thing you could do is play CLV, pitch etchings away to Volzar just to try it because like you can't play two arcane spells. The problem is that opens you up to them sending an attack since they still have the action points. That's probably too risky. But you
Okay.
like you really want to hit an attack action here is the only thing.
Well, let's get a little aggressive. I think this is fine. We don't have anything to get back, so I think pitching this is okay. And if
Okay.
they do decide to get aggressive, then we'll figure it out from there. Um, I'm very intrigued that they're on a Nothos and AB3. I mean, I think it's probably the best way to play the matchup from their side. I normally, when I pair into this, I just cry. Is normally my game plan. So I guess we'll block 3
Yeah.
with the
And
Mind
it
Warper.
feels bad giving up the mind warp here, but like with the hand as it was, you probably weren't going to be able to send that for anything useful anyway.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm kind of thinking cycle away a sigil to start here.
Yeah, I think that's a fine way to start.
Try to find something just a little bit better here. Current funnel would be good if we had an embodiment.
So let me hear your thoughts on how to play this hand. I know what I do here.
So I would go discharge, gone in a flash for 7, and then I would pitch the current funnel to Volzar and arsenal the sigil of conductivity.
I would do that up to so electrostatic discharge, gone in a flash, go to damage, then play the sigil of conductivity, respond like before it hits the field, pitch the current funnel away to Volzar, pick up the gone in a flash, arsenal the gone in a flash.
Keeping the gone in a flash makes a lot more sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Keep our power cards when we can.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
And they might disrupt you, but like if they do, it is what it is. You kind of need to keep your gone in a flash around.
All right, so we'll play this. We pick this back up. With this still on the stack, we're going to pitch our current funnel. So that now this resolves, and we can arsenal. Should we arsenal glyph here, or should we arsenal gone in a flash?
You can go either way. So arsenaling the glyph like protects the gone in a flash from arsenal disruption, but it means that you can't like block with the glyph if you draw a hand that like wants to send that as a block.
That's fair enough. I mean, it is a 3 block, like so. It
Yeah.
seems like keeping it should be at least fine here. Ooh, they have a very aggressive hand.
That's
Golden
cool.
Sun into Thunderquake. So this is going to be 7 into 6, and they're going to arsenal the Golden Sun. So it's 13,
Cool.
which puts us to 20.
Um yeah, what are your thoughts here?
I'm gonna be honest. This is one of those hands where like my head draws a blank. I'm not really sure like how we should play this one out because like I want to get the Gone in a Flash and the Mind Warped involved, but I don't know how to do both of those without running the sigil out now.
Yeah. So let's see what they do on their turn. Or with their second attack. I don't think you need to block anything on this first one.
Okay. Yeah, they're gonna pitch the Thunderquake and just come in for 6.
All right. So, you have your God in a Flash, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that can get you some pretty good value, but you don't have Go Again yet, which is the catch there. You could play the Sigil of Lightning out on their turn,
Mm-hmm.
and then on your turn, you're still gonna have like your Sigil around, so you could do something that involves like Gone in a Flash, and then you're pitching to your Null Shock to pick it up. The other interesting thing is that like because you have this null shock, you don't necessarily need to get the action point. So another thing you could do here is like you could just like block 6, play Gone in a Flash, and then like null shock them, pitching the sigil. I don't love that.
So I think one of the things that stood out to me is if we said no blocks, played the sigil, and then we went to go 4 go again on hit, draw a card face up, and then from there we can pitch Mind Warp to play the shock, not amping because I want to see how they play it out because we'll have 2 lightning cards, and then from there we can break the combat chain, activate Volzar, and play Glyph for 6.
Okay, so you're talking about playing this all starts with playing the sigil on their turn?
Yeah.
I think I like that. Yeah.
All right, so we'll say no blocks here because we're going to need our whole hand, and we're just going to play the sigil. And we know they have a Golden Sun in Arsenal, which is kind of nice because they don't have any gold right now, so it's just a 4 for 7.
And then like the other way you could like choose to play this hand, I don't think it's correct. I think the way you laid it out is perfect.
Okay.
The other way you could choose to play the hand is like start by cycling the null shock, see what you get. Because if you hit any 0 cost instant, the hand becomes a lot better.
Okay.
But you would have to do that before, you go to blocking and everything, because that probably involves blocking with one of the 3s.
No, that makes sense. Just trying to see if we can find something better off the top.
Yeah.
What the hell? We're playing Wizards. Blasphemy. I can tell everybody's gotten used to watching Guardian a little bit too much on my channel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. Cool.
I thought Talishar crashed, and I was like, uh-oh. Like, that's not good for the stream. It has our names backwards. I'm now on the wrong side of the screen here.
Did it log you out or something? So you're like spectating?
I am. I'm spectating our match.
Huh.
Yeah, because it won't let me see any of the cards over there. Wow, that's unfortunate. That's so unfortunate.
Is there a way to... I don't know how Talishar works. Is there a way to like log out, log back in or something?
It didn't log me out. I'm still logged in. That's so bizarre. All right. Well, we're gonna fire up another game because we're definitely not in a stream like that. Absolutely not.
Well, sorry about that.
No, dude. I mean, I think we were in a spot where we could really try to turn that game around. I guess it depends on what came off the top of the deck there whenever we drew, but that's unfortunate. I hate that.
Yeah, see that's just like one of those hands where it's like you're setting up or one of those games where you're setting up the sigils, you got the God in a Flash around, and like you can be behind in life, but the victor just isn't going to kill you that fast. So like if your hand after that is a perfect combo hand, you probably just win the game there.
Gotcha. Oh, somebody just said, I think Talishar's down. I'm having trouble with it. Uh-oh. I hope that's not what happened. Let's see if we can... I don't want to play against Ira again. Played against Ira twice. Let's see. It's letting me start matches. I don't know. We'll see if somebody joins here. Okay, Matt. Okay, now it seems to be back. Okay, so Talishar seems to be back up and running here.
Cool.
Talishar got confused. It saw Victor game and tried to correct me on the other side. Oh, that's so funny, dude. I love that. Well, hopefully... Yep. Okay, here we go. Ooh, KO.
KO.
That's a spicy one.
Cool.
I would assume we want to go second, just like we would into aggro decks, just to try to get tempo.
Yeah.
So this is probably an old knocker matchup. Maybe. Tunic?
Yeah, I think so. The thing is, like Tunic, like a lot of times it's just one block better than old knocker, as long as you like get to turn 3.
Sure.
You know?
No, that makes
So
sense.
I tend to default to Tunic unless I'm like really in a matchup where I need to race. So like Prism, Syndra, Dash IO, that sort of thing.
Okay, well, this is probably a game where we get to turn 3 or 4 pretty consistently, I
Yeah.
would say. So I think we're safe to play Tunic here.
Yeah.
My gut is telling me that we want sigils in this matchup, just as like good life buffer here. And then I would think since we're going second, we want discharges and a one of Null Shock and a one of Inferno.
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that.
Oh, that's too many cards.
Oh, that's 8.
I
I would
guess.
do
What would you
yeah,
play?
probably just the Null Shock unless you really want to keep the Eternal Inferno in for the potential like nuts draws.
I mean, listen, if I don't get to play the Eternal Inferno, I will be forcing this deck until I get to play the Eternal Inferno.
Ooh, this is it's good we're going second.
Yeah,
Uh,
really though. Geez, this hand's awkward.
one thing to consider with KO that makes like the shocks a little better is Scowling Fleshbag. Because like if they Scowling Fleshbag your arcane spell, that's really bad. But if it's
Okay,
an instant, you can play around it. So
sure. No, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Man, this is the. I'm gonna take that other picture we had of the triple CLV, and I'm gonna post it with this picture, and I'm gonna say the ups and downs of Oscilio.
hey, since you're going second, this is a great hand. It blocks 9.
Yeah, we can actually block 9, and then we can put the sigil into play if we want to.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this so much because now we get to keep one. I mean, I guess we could probably just pitch
I
it
mean,
to Volzar, right?
well, since you've got the Sigil of Lightning you're gonna play out, you probably do want to keep it because there's a decent chance you'll actually get the current funnel off.
Okay, that makes sense.
You could pitch it to Volzar if you want. I mean, it isn't great, but
No, I mean, if we have like a Gone on a Flash hand where it works with this, it could be really good. Okay, not the best hand in the world.
yeah. What are your thoughts on the hand?
So I kind of like having the embodiment in play. So I was kind of thinking that we could cycle away the Sigil of Lightning,
Okay.
see what we draw, and then we always have the option of playing Channel and then pitching to Current Funnel and arsenaling Sigil of Solace to set up.
hmm Now, the one thing you didn't account for there is what are you gonna do with the card you draw?
Okay.
Because that currently in that line, if it's not something you can play UIP yourself, if it's an attack, then you're breaking your embodiment. Best case scenario here is another sigil,
Okay.
or specifically a sigil of brilliance or a sigil of conductivity, or an arcane spell. Arcane spell is probably best case scenario.
So I guess if we
But
start with cycling, we
yeah.
can always play the Sigil and then arsenal whatever we draw as well, I guess.
So I just wanted to. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just wanted to present that like the higher risk high reward line is what you said. Cycle the sigil of lightning. The very safe line here is just play channel lightning valley, play sigil of solace, pitch current funnel away, arsenal the sigil of lightning.
Okay.
That's the safe line.
Well,
But
let's
there
play
are
that
there
then.
are things you can hit off the top that would be crazy.
Okay.
So
So we're going to play this, and then activate Volzar.
mm,
And then we'll set up. I like this. I don't hate this at all. I'm very comfortable with, like, I think taking a safe line early is perfectly okay. Blast to Oblivion probably doesn't change too much here.
So yeah, if you had cycled and hit that blast to oblivion, it would have been a good hand in the extent that it like, you maybe get to like trigger the channel lightning valley like you play an attack, but because you don't have the arcane spell and you're like not drawing another card off blast to oblivion, it still doesn't really go anywhere is the problem.
Okay. So I'm kind of thinking that we can play the Sigil of Lightning, play Blast to Oblivion on our turn, play the Discharge to pick up the Sigil of Lightning, and then we have Flittering Charge into it's Flittering Charge for 7, play the Sigil, and then we can Arsenal the Sigil of Lightning here again.
So that's interesting. My immediate thought is that we are picking up the Channel Lightning Valley, not the Sigil of Lightning.
Okay. I also don't hate that at all. It sounds like either way we're taking 5 here off of this
Yeah.
first attack to see what they do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we take 5. Think we can also just take 3 here. Our Sigil of Solace basically just negates the claw on this turn cycle.
Is that an erase face?
It is an erase face.
Hmm. That's
So
awkward.
we could try to arsenal the channel Lightning Valley here by picking it up.
You could. Um, you actually don't care about this because you don't have the arcane spell right now.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you can play your hand out in a way where you use everything and then arsenal the Channel Lightning Valley, I think this is fine.
So to be able to do something like that, we play Blast to Oblivion, play
Yeah,
the
that is.
Sigil of Lightning, and we play the Discharge to pick this up. I guess we want to wait.
So, I mean, you can play it out in a way such that you end the turn having played everything, and you have the CLV in Arsenal and the Sigil of Lightning on the field. It doesn't account for a potential card drawn off of CLV though, and
Sure.
that's the unfortunate part here. Is if you end up hitting like an arcane spell off of this, it would have been crazy, but you got erase faced.
So do we lead on the Flittering Charge here? Because
I
we
think
want to end on picking this up?
No, I think you still lead with the Blast to Oblivion because that way you're able to use the Sigil of Solace to give go again to the Flittering Charge. So if you draw something like another Flittering Charge off of a CLV trigger, you want to be sending that so you can still arsenal the CLV.
Okay. Is there any thought process to playing the Discharge up front in case we get hit with Fleshbag here?
You can, yeah. I don't think it matters where you. Uh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine because you have the Sigil of Lightning in
I was
Arsenal.
like, since we have the Lightning in Arsenal, we're in a pretty safe spot
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they block this with the channel in play. They are going to give us Fleshbag.
Interesting.
I don't know that I would have here if I was playing KO, but I understand their thought process because they're thinking about how they can play around the channel here and try to slow down our turn as much as possible.
Yeah. I think since you're getting the like you're gonna be getting the channel trigger, you don't want to like respond with anything.
Yeah, so we could just let the Fleshbag happen, and I guess we'll hope they take the Sigil of Solace here.
Yeah.
They do take the Sigil of Solace. Currently taking 2. So we draw into channel. It's a Flittering Charge, which...
Yeah. So here you wanna sorry. Do you know what you do here?
No, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, that is unfortunate. And
It's
that
kind
I
of
guess
weird.
this is the line I was thinking it was perfectly fine to do the electrostatic discharge beforehand, but this is why it's not, is because now you're not able to give go again
Yeah.
to another one. You're definitely playing the sigil and picking up the CLV here. Um, Now, what is interesting is you can now go because the sigil got. Oh no, because we're a race face. Never mind. Um,
Is there any shot that is just worth playing the channel just to get value out of go again here? Like we could just go 4 into 4 and then Arsenal Sigil of Solace?
yeah, I like that.
It's unfortunate that that played out that way. It's funny because I wanted to play it out this way so that I could play around Fleshbag, but it ended up hurting us in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be good for you that it's off the table.
It just feels so bad to like give ourselves an intellect penalty here and like hang on to both cards here. Ooh,
Hmm.
this is clunky.
This is definitely one of the Oscilio hands of all time.
All right, so this is 8. They make a new might token. I mean, we should start with cycling away the lightning press, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Since they don't like really have we don't have an attack here to make this work. Okay.
The only decision there. Okay, now this hand is pretty good.
We're cooking with cheese now, boys. You love to see that. This hand's actually insane, right? Because we get to go Gone in a Flash, channel. Did we lead on a channel?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is I think you have to lead on one of the channels just because of the awkwardness of Gone in a Flash with channel. Now, if they block your first one, you could consider playing the second one. But you're probably like just getting one out and then trying to keep it around is my guess. I don't think this is going to be like a combo turn since you don't have the arcane damage.
Yeah, I was like, this turn's good, but since we have the Sigil of Lightning already in play, feels like we have like a mini combo turn kind of put together here.
Yeah.
So Sigil pops. We can lead on a channel to get it in play up front, and then we get to play the Gone in a Flash. It's also possible that they let this hit, and then we're able to draw into a arcane spell that could do some work here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking here you're probably gonna wanna. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was thinking you like lead on the sigil for picking up, just because depending on what you drew, there was a chance that you'd want to either cycle or pitch the blink. Since it's
that
instant
makes
lightning.
sense. That does make sense. So we can Gone in a Flash, blink it, and then we could. I don't really want to play the Gone in a Flash. So what we can do is we can Gone in a Flash, blink the Gone in a Flash, throw the Blast to Oblivion, and then pitch the channel to Volzar to keep the channel around an Arsenal Gone in a Flash.
I mean, yeah, with Gone in a Flash, it's weird since we can't like Arsenal the channel Lightning Valley. So yeah, I like your line.
Oh, what just
Because
happened?
normally, like if we weren't on Gone in a Flash here, my first instinct is like we want to keep the channel Lightning Valley around and then Arsenal the other one. But I think you are right since we're getting low on life and we need to set up a combo turn that it's way better to Arsenal the Gone in a Flash.
Yeah, I was like, I would love to be able to Arsenal the channel Lightning Valley here, but like my brain's just telling me that like we just kind of like have to have this for next turn because I think they have a Blood Rush turn here.
Yeah, and the awkward part here is that it opens you up to like send packing, for example.
Yeah, that's very true. Would be very awkward here. So we're just going to pitch channel to this, and then we will Arsenal Gone in a Flash. Sorry, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say this has been an unfortunate game in terms of not drawing your arcane spells.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. Have we seen? We saw. No, we've seen none.
Yeah.
Through 4 turns? Wow, that's surprising.
Because each of your hands, if I'm remembering correctly, could have been crazy if you had a arcane spell, but we just haven't had the way to convert it.
Yeah, if we would have had one, I feel like we would have been rolling. Yeah, this being Blood Rush makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of thinking that we're going to block with Ether Bindings, Greaves, and Etchings here, and then we're gonna try to like make a small Gone in a Flash Mind Warp turn happen here.
Yeah, that checks out.
Because we could probably cycle away the Somersault here if we wanted to as well, right? Because we can go Gone in a Flash, blink it back to our hand, and then Mind Warp them.
Yeah, yeah. And whatever you hit off of electromagnetic somersault is fine. You're kind of like high rolling to a sigil, but like anything is going to be able to be pitched to Volzar. So
Right. No, that makes sense. Yo, is that Pro Tour top 8 competitor Edison Yu hanging out in the chat, dude? My
it,
man said Verdant's masterclass win. When are you gonna be on the stream, dog? We'll have you on the stream. We'll play some Verdants, man. I'm here for it. Sounds like fun, dude. Oh, they hit a blood rush. So we can
ooh, so
actually
that
stop their turn.
okay. So I don't remember how pulping is worded. How is
Oh,
it?
yeah. So we have to put 2 non-equipment cards in front of it. So because of that, I'm kind of thinking that we cycle the somersault.
Yeah.
And then if we draw a card that blocks, we can play our mini turn like this. This is perfect.
Now
Ooh, go ahead, hit me with it. Hit me with some knowledge, dude.
I'm just wondering, like, is it okay? So they're not on AB here.
They have 0
I'm
AB.
just I think we got to do the math on which is actually better in terms of like blocking mind warp, etchings of arcana versus blocking like because the shock lets you send your Gone in a
Ooh.
Flash an additional time next turn. So that's it. That's effectively an extra 5 value and consigned to Cosmos. Well, no, because you're not getting. Ooh, no, you don't get the
So let's do
Well,
the
you don't
math.
get the Volzar.
If we block with, we could use Tunic to block with Volzar if we, or to use Volzar if we wanted to, which like is not the best thing in the world. So we could block Etchings and Mind Warp, and then our turn would be Gone in a Flash, Blink, Gone in a Flash, Tunic, Volzar, Consigned to Cosmos.
Yeah, and if you hit something off of the first draw, you could like pitch instead of tunicking potentially. I
Yeah,
like that line better because it is more damage, and I think that's better versus presenting the mind warp here because after this block you're going to 17. Having already seen 2 Blood Rush Bellows, it's unlikely they're gonna kill you.
that's fair. That's fair. Them hitting the second Blood Rush Bellow there is very fortunate for us. I'm imagining
Now
this
it's
is just
possible they have
Sash and Leather block here. Like, I'm assuming they're just going to jam equipment in front of this.
yeah.
So, Andrew, I want to ask you, and this is completely random from the game, but I
Okay.
have cards on my desk that I shuffle when I play Talishar.
Okay.
Do you have anything like when you're like, if you're like doing something or like, like, I don't know. I know you said you don't play a lot of Talishar, but do you do anything like that? Like, do you have like that, like, I don't know, I guess I would call it like a tick or something, I guess, that I do when I'm playing
Oh
cards?
yeah. If there is anything near my desk while I'm like sitting here like doing work or something, I'll flick it around. Like I had something here for a while that were like little cardboard cutouts from the Magic the Gathering like bundles, and I
Yeah.
would just sit here flicking that around.
Dude, I love that. That's awesome. I'm very surprised at my opponent's block there. I would assume they just wanted to jam equipment in front. Like they have Savage Sash and Scabskin Leathers, and they know we haven't drawn an arcane spell yet. So they have to be aware that like we could just like rip into like a big arcane turn and just like try to put this away.
Yeah, I mean what that tells me um is that they like just they're not able to convert all of the 4 cards in their hand, so they wanted to make sure they got one of them out on blocking.
Is there any world it's worth keeping the tunic counter here and just
No,
sending shock for 1?
no.
Okay. All right, so right here, we're going to activate Tunic. We're going to consign to Cosmos, and then we're going to activate Volzar. So we pick up the Gone in a Flash. This is going to be 5. We draw into a consign to Cosmos.
Okay.
I guess we can just save this for next turn? Or should we just throw it to
Um,
clear out our hand?
it's so good with Gone in a Flash.
I know. I know.
Yeah, I think I'd just hold on to it. I think the value of having it in the hand is more than 1.
All right, so we'll Arsenal, Gone in a Flash. Ooh. Very
Huh.
interesting hand.
It blocks well, which is what you want if it's not a combo hand.
So hear me out for a second. I have kind of a crazy thought process here, and this is I'm living on the edge with this one. But what if
Okay.
we, what if we said no blocks? I mean, if we're not gonna die, obviously, which
Huh.
is there's no go again. So, what if we were able to attack with Gone in a Flash, pitch Comet Storm to Lightning Greaves here? We could obviously block with the Lightning Greaves,
Mhm.
and then we would play Lightning Press to pick it back up, and then we would play Consigned to Cosmos, picking up Gone in a Flash, pitch Gone in a Flash to Volzar to be able to activate Etchings of Arcana, and then we could get back a Sigil of Lightning here and arsenal it.
Okay, so you are along a good train of thought here
Okay.
of like using the lightning greaves to basically put out more arcane because they're not on AB, and I think there is a world in which you're able to threaten lethal this turn. I would have to like stare at this hand for a while to figure out what that line is though. I don't know how much you want to do that on stream right now. But
Oh, somebody made the
um
comment that press doesn't resolve, and I forgot about that interaction.
yeah, you don't actually get pressed on that. I think you start this hand by cycling the lightning press. Any blue here makes this hand much more workable.
Oh, why wasn't I able to cycle 4 blocks?
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's weird. I'm gonna request to undo. Although I don't know, I'm lagging pretty hard for some reason. Is the stream lagging at all? Doesn't
Hmm.
look like the stream's lagging. All right. So I guess with man, I hate that. I'm gonna try and okay, there we go. Request to undo the last action, and they did allow
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Yeah. That's really important because your
So you said cycle the lightning
it's gonna.
press.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends heavily on what you hit here. Ooh. Okay. Um. Hmm. If it had been a blue, that would have been awesome.
So I'm kind of thinking that we can block with etchings and mind warp, and then we can just throw comet storm. I hate that it's only for 5, but I think that that's probably like we get to block 6, take 4 to 13, and then we get to throw 5 damage at them they can't prevent.
So I actually think the better line here is block 9 with Comet Storm, Etchings of Arcana, and Mind Warp. Then on your turn, you go Gone in a Flash, just consign for 1, pick up Gone in a Flash, arsenal it.
Okay.
Because that presents more damage, and the fact that it like isn't arcane is fine here because you do kind of just want to get cards out of their hand, and they're probably not killing you from 16.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So we get to
If
just
you
threaten Gone in a Flash again, and then we get to have our shock off the consigned to Cosmos to just be able to bounce it back and continue to wait for our
yeah,
turn.
yeah. That would have been really interesting if you had drawn a blue.
Oh, for sure. I feel like we had quite a few options if we drew a blue.
Yeah. I think if you drew a blue, that hand converts to like. I think if you drew a blue, that hand converts to lethal damage, so it at least forces them to block.
I was like, we get quite a bit of value out of that. We have to use Lightning Greaves there with the blue, I'm pretty sure, but we get quite a bit
Yeah,
of
yeah,
value there, right?
yeah. Because you would go Gone in a Flash, Lightning Greaves, the shock on the Comet Storm, so like just the shock side of that.
Okay.
Pick it up, play it again, do the Consigned to Cosmos shock, pick that up. Then you're. Oh no, then you don't get to. Then I guess you like pitch the Gone in a Flash to Volzar, and then your etchings is for 7, and then you get to Arsenal a Sigil.
Okay.
So that's yeah. If they like don't block some of those Gone in a Flashes, I think it works out to lethal.
Oh, man. So they roll a 5, so they have 2 action points, and then
Oh
hit us with a
no.
Blood Rush?
I may have been too soon on the you're not gonna die here. Oh no, and the
Oh,
oh
and they have a
dear.
Sin Packing? Oh, we might be done for here.
Yeah.
That sim packing is going to be for 8.
Oof.
I think we have to take 9 and go to 7 and try to block out from there.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to protect my arsenal, although it may not matter. Admittedly, there's probably like a world where like if we had a shock in this hand, we might be able to get the distance with the high voltage.
Yeah. I think I led you astray with the previous turn. Maybe it was better to just send the damage. I'm not sure.
No, I mean, we ended up I don't think they blocked at all, so we were able to push the same amount of damage there regardless.
Mhm.
The fact that they still have 2 action points is terrifying, and they're cracking
Oh,
Sash. I think we're 30 kinds of dead here. They have to whiff off
yeah.
this wild ride for us to have a shot. I guess we can cycle away the high voltage here. They do not
Yeah.
miss. We'll cycle away the high voltage here. That does stem the bleeding a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah.
And then I guess we're just going to give up some equipment here. Just trying to stay alive.
Hmm.
Somersault. Guess it just depends on what that last card
Now,
is.
it's too late now. I wouldn't have done that here because we know about. Oh no, they pitched away the send backing. Never mind.
Yeah, they pitched the sin packing there, so I was like, okay, I think we just have to try and fight for our life here.
Sense.
All right, so this is 8 dominate, which means I have to block with everything and go to 1.
Yep.
That's unfortunate. Is there any world that with the Flash or Brilliance trigger on the stack, I want to play Conductivity? No.
Um,
We get
can
to
you
make an
pick it up?
embodiment, and then we could go
Ye-
4. We could throw 8.
yes, you. So I think you. This is weird. It doesn't really matter. Both ways are going to convert to 8 damage, so it's better not to do it. What you're probably going to do on this turn is break Lightning Greaves, send Gone in a Flash, play Sigil of Conductivity, pick up the Gone in a Flash, play the Gone in a Flash again.
Okay. So we're not going to let this happen. We're going to go to 1. And
As
then.
long as they don't have like run roughshod here, you have a chance.
Oh, if they have run roughshod, we're so dead. It's like just an extra 7 at the end of this turn. I would cry.
Did you live?
It looks like it.
Oh, this is insane. You might actually win this game now.
So it's 4.
Yep.
We're going to have to hope for a. Are there any copies of Consign to Cosmos left in the deck? There's 1. So it's possible they go low enough here that we have the ability to try and get them at instant speed with a shock here. All right, they go to 7. It technically does mean that we get to preserve our boots, Christopher, but I think at this point in the game, I don't think that keeping our boots in play is really gonna like change the game. We're at 1, so we're like forced to block out everything they do. But yes, technically it would have been the same thing, and we would have got to preserve our boots. Oh, I did not want to close the combat chain. I just think it's kind of 6 in one, a half dozen in the other here at this point. Yeah, we're basically hoping for no reckless swing the rest of the game.
That's funny.
Okay.
All right, they're going to 4.
This
It is
gives
within
us a
range.
chance. Means we can do it. Heart of the cards, please. Chief called. This
Oh,
ain't
that's
it.
not.
This hand
Well, hey,
blocks.
maybe they miss.
Dang.
They didn't miss.
Are we supposed to cycle this here?
If this says go again, they can at least send the. Yeah, you have to. Oh, that doesn't do it.
Oh, we have one more thing to click through here. So we have to block 7 here, and then we're just dead. Sage. Are they clawing to swing big? Just send the swing big. No BM. I appreciate it, opponent. Oh, let's get the... Man, I gotta look at my keyboard after this. Good lord. GG's, opponents.
All right, well...
I like that was like I feel like we had some like real clunkers tonight. Like over the course of the stream, like this game, the first like 4 or 5 turns had 0 arcane spells in them. And it's like if we could have ended with an arcane spell here, we would have been rolling. Like in any of the first 4 turns. So I don't know, like I feel like that as much as like we lean into the high roll with this deck, sometimes I feel like you just get juiced by the deck itself, which is one of the downfalls. But I mean, to be fair, this can happen with any deck.
You do, and I think that's maybe something I wasn't as focused on with this stream is like, considering what cards you keep around in your arsenal to like try and play around those future things. I will say the way I play this deck in paper involves spending a lot of time just like staring at the hand before I make any sort of decision.
Sure.
Usually when my opponent plays their first attack on their turn. Yeah, that is one of the drawbacks of the deck, and sometimes you are just going to like draw a hand of all attacks, and then next turn it's a hand of all arcane spells, and then you just lose. But then we have games like, that Ira game that we went up against earlier, where it was just like insane and we completely blew them up. And that's a lot of fun of the deck. And there is a lot of fun in, figuring out how to make those clunkers turn into wins. Like, that at the end there, if that last hand you drew was like high voltage, any sigil shock, you win that game.
Right. Exactly. And so that's the interesting thing is like, even as bad as that game felt, it still really felt like we were in there. Like we had a shot to be in that game at the end, which is like kind of insane to say for like, not really like getting to like, we had to use our lightning greaves for like 4 points, which felt really bad. Like we didn't really have like any good hands there. So I don't know. Like that's one thing that I really like about the Oscilio deck is like I've won games out of nowhere. Just like off the top rope out of nowhere, you just win games at instant speed because of the shocks. And I think that makes it very entertaining and very interesting as you play the deck, for sure. So,
yeah, well, and that's one spot where it's maybe okay. So towards the end there, we had that hand where we had like Mind Warp, a Comet Storm Shock, a Consigned to Cosmos Shock. I forget what the last card was. I think it was the Etchings of Arcana.
Yep.
And like those kinds of hands are like interesting in terms of, maybe there's a way we could have converted that hand to just like a little more damage and then ended it by arsenaling one of the shocks to then try and set up. Because I think one of those future hands that we drew after that had like 2 high voltages or something in it. Maybe I'm misremembering. But
there was a high voltage and a sigil. A blue sigil, I think, is what we had in the hand. We had 2 blues that we could have played at instant speed. There was definitely a world where like the 1 high voltage would have won from there. Like even in that hand, if we had made that play. And those are probably things that like, when you're sitting here and like we're bantering and we're trying to like, combo people with Eternal Inferno, we're not as focused on. But when you're at the calling, you're sitting there, you're looking at the cards, you're giving this like in-depth analysis to everything you have access to through the turn. So it makes a lot of sense that like things change depending on the setting, because I'm the same way. When I'm streaming, like I'm talking to whoever's with me, I'm talking to chat, like I'm doing all these different things. But when I'm at a tournament, I am like laser focused on the game and what's going on, and I'm like analyzing things so much differently. So I completely understand that. Andrew, dude, thank you so much for coming on the stream and playing Oscilio with me tonight, man. I had a freaking blast. Getting to blow up that Ira when we were like still at like 34 life was hilarious and definitely a highlight of the stream. So thanks a bunch, man, for being here. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that you want to leave with like future Oscillionaires or anybody who's looking to play the deck, maybe going into ProQuest season?
Don't do too well with the deck or people will start targeting it. That's what I'll say.
Oh,
We
man.
don't want people thinking the deck is too good.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it. I absolutely love it, brother. Guys, thank you so much for being here and watching tonight. I really hope you enjoyed having Andrew on. I've had an absolute blast tonight. So if you're watching this later, let me know in the comments what you think about Oscilio, how much you enjoy having Andrew on. And guys, thanks for being here. Let's see, today's Thursday. There is not a stream tomorrow. There will be a video. We're actually talking about worlds in my video tomorrow. So make sure you check that out. And then we'll be back streaming some this weekend. Thanks for hanging out and take it easy, guys.
Thank you.
Oh. Kyle requested 5 subs of water. Fucking weeb. It was not water. That was not water.
Oh, here, have some water.
I was lied to. The lies. Yo, only 4